Well. Good morning, my class. How is everybody? My Teaser King family, as I like to think of us. We're here to help each other, not to hurt each other. So let's look at yesterday's football action. Well, let's go down the list. KC 27-20. My score is 37-24. We had the over 46 and a half as we teased 52 and a half down to 46 and a half. We got the 47. That was a lock that won. Game 2, Philadelphia 7.5. I got 27-20. They won 38-7. I have Philly kind of light. I kind of figured it out near the end. Obviously, I wasn't expecting quite that because Philly hadn't played well. And but in the playoffs, that's what I'm saying. The 1 seed tends to play better. So I thought they would win. I didn't think they'd kill them, but okay, that's fine. We got the win. Game 3, Cincinnati, Buffalo. My score, 34-31 Cincinnati. Line moved to 6. Everybody's crying about the injured lineman. I'm saying don't worry. Burrow and Chase are there. And since he kills them 27-10, I win the Cincinnati lock. I have Cincinnati plus, I think it's 11 and a half. That was a lock. I also locked the over 48 down to 42, and I couldn't believe that Buffalo only scored 10 points in the game. So I lose the over because Buffalo gets 10 points, which shows you how strong Cincinnati's defense is, which I knew it was. I thought Buffalo, my score is 34-31. So I got pretty close with Cincy getting 27, but Buffalo getting 10. Who saw that coming? Again, people overanalyzing the lineman being hurt. I'm telling you, it's not a key position to worry about. The key positions, Burrow and Chase, which both played. I did think that play just before the half, Chase caught the ball, took 2 steps. The fact he gets knocked down and the ball kind of moves, to me, at what point is the play over with? He caught the ball and took 2 steps. The catch is over. If a guy knocks you down, I don't really understand why. Well, wait, it's not a catch. You didn't survive the ground. There was no ground. He caught the ball. Why is the ground even a play when he caught the ball and took the 2 steps? That should be it. That play should be over. He caught the ball, took 2 steps. To me, the ground is when you dive, right? It's you dive for the ball, then you got to survive the ground. But not when you catch the ball, took 2 steps. That was a touchdown. That was a joke. That was part of the fix. Let's keep Buffalo in the game. We'll call it an incompletion. It was clearly a catch. Sort of like the Tennessee guy. They called it a fumble. It was clearly an incompletion. His hand was clearly going forward. I mean, the refs can make up whatever they want. It's so confusing. You can see it's done by lawyers. It's so confusing. Nobody knows what the hell they're talking about or what the hell anything is. So, anyway, I made a point yesterday about making up my mind and playing it. Okay? I was very clear on that point for that reason. Money is going on Buffalo, which I can't figure out why. I assume it was for the linemen because I had no other assumption. We got snow, and I told you snow wouldn't be a factor for Burrow, which it wasn't. I don't know if it was real windy there or not. I don't think the wind really affected Frisco and Philly either. But I told you that why I like Cincy, better defense, and Buffalo had no defense, and Joe Burrow, and we're betting on Joe Burrow, Joe Montana. So with my analysis in, I don't know what BD Wong would have done with a +6 if he goes to even or if he goes to 12 or what he does. I don't really give a shit because I'm picking the game, and that's exactly what I did was pick the game, and the game was you've got the better team getting points. And since he would have killed them if they would have played the Monday night game, Cincinnati would have done the same thing. But with that said, I think Cincy was definitely pissed about why isn't this game coming up at a neutral site? Why does Buffalo get the neutral site but Cincinnati doesn't? To me, this game should be neutral site. I mean, you fuck both teams over by canceling the game. Why would you not let Cincinnati play in Atlanta like you were letting Buffalo play in Atlanta? What's that point about? So since he's going to be plenty pissed this week, but it won't matter. They're going to kill Kansas City. But let's get back. So Cincinnati totally dominates Buffalo, total shuts down Josh Allen. They blitzed him. That's my whole point about Josh Allen. You blitz him, he's nothing. This is why I tell you good quarterbacks and bad quarterbacks. They're all good quarterbacks. They're fucking pros. They can do it in college. The guy's wide open by 20 yards. They're going to hit him. That doesn't make you a great quarterback. It makes you a adequate quarterback in a major college that can hit a guy who's 20 yards open like Fields did. Like all the Alabama and Ohio State quarterbacks can do in college. And they have protection, and they got good running backs and receivers. And they can, the guy's wide open, he hits him. Wow, what a great quarterback. No, he's not a great quarterback. That's what he should do, is hit the guys wide open. So everybody gets all like crazy, like Alabama. Well, they're all easy passes. These guys are all open. They're all fast. They flood the zone. So it makes it look like they're really good. And then you get them in the pros. Mac Jones sucks. Tagovailoa sucks. Jalen Hurts has a little more Oklahoma in him because that's the difference between Alabama and Oklahoma. So with 2 years at Oklahoma, I believe Hurts was there 2 years, or was there one? They teach him, look, we just run everybody deep and then you run and you're fast. And that's my problem with Hurts. Now we're going to see Hurts this week if he's any good or not. We don't know if he's any good. We know Trevor Lawrence sucks, which we told you. We know Daniel Jones sucks, which we told you. And we know Prescott sucks. And if we want to review the tape from yesterday, what did I say? Dak Prescott, 2 interceptions. He throws 2. Should have had the pick 6. The first one should have been a pick 6 if the guy runs in. And then late in the game, he throws it over the middle, and the guy drops the pick 6 that he would have walked in at the 20-yard line, and he drops it. That should have been pick 6. So he throws 2 interceptions. Should have done 3. Didn't do anything. Couldn't handle a blitz. And you got to wonder what Dallas sees in him. I mean, he lost last year. He lost the year before. Loses big games constantly. Doesn't bring anything really to the table. He runs a little bit, but even when he threw the interceptions, they had a close-up on him, and he really just sat there with a stupid look on his face. Like, oh, well. So I got my 2 interceptions from Tag. I got my interception from Lawrence. Jones, I think, had an interception. You know who didn't throw the interception? It was Brock Purdy. Everybody's sitting there waiting for Brock Purdy to crumble. And my response was, why? There's no reason he's going to crumble. Now, I didn't expect Dallas's defense to be as strong as it was, or I would have played the game under, but I still locked it. So my locks were Kansas City over, Cincinnati plus the 12, San Francisco plus 2.5, and I lost on a lock on Cincinnati Buffalo over, which I'm still shocked we didn't hit 42. Nothing to do with the snow. So I had a great weekend. Really, I picked all 4 of the games. The only thing I did wrong was assuming Buffalo would score more than 10 points, which, of course, you're going to assume. They're an over team. But it just shows you the strong defenses. The strong defense won with San Francisco, it won with Cincinnati, and it won with Philadelphia. And in the KC Jacksonville game, there was no strong defense. So that's why you had kind of the score you had. So Frisco just dominated them. Now, the comeback, the takeaway I got from that game, Dallas came out very emotional. Very emotional. That first quarter, they were flying all over the ball. And I said to myself, they're going to be in trouble in the fourth quarter. And they were. By the fourth quarter, they weren't making the tackles. McCaffrey easily scores on that. Was good San Francisco cash, good picks. Yeah, get used to that, Eric. See, everybody's sitting there with Dallas, which I didn't understand. I told you the spread should have been 10. I was prepared to tease it to 4. But when you knocked it down to 3.5, you already gave me a teaser. Now I take 2.5 all gravy because I know they're going to win. They win by 7. My spread of 10 was just about right. It's about where it should have been. And again, instead of panicking, going, oh shit, the spread's 3.5. Why is the spread 3.5? I knew it was a bullshit spread. It was a lot of Dallas people betting. That's why the spread was low. It wasn't a real reason to be afraid. And the better team won and won easy. The defense dominated for the Niners, and they had enough with McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy looked fine, and Deebo Samuel and Kittle. I mean, it was that one catch by Kittle was beautiful. Hey, Ryan, how did they overturn that Chase touchdown before the half? I didn't think they had enough to overturn it. Well, I don't even know why they review it. I mean, if the ref's about 3 inches away, calls it a touchdown, why are we going through this bullshit to turn it or say then you're entering into it's fixed, it's all this shit. I agree with you. That was a touchdown by a mile. It was an easy touchdown. He caught it, took 2 steps, the play's over. Why the guy gets pushed to the ground and the ball comes loose? Oh, wait, he didn't control it. He did. He caught it and took 2 steps. That's it. That's the play is over. Why does the play go on for 5 minutes? Well, he caught it and took 2 steps, and then the guy tripped him and he fell down. And what the fuck is that? He caught the ball. It's a touchdown. Reminded me of the Calvin Johnson catch way back. He catches the ball, takes 2 steps, and then spins the ball, and they called it incomplete because he didn't control it on the way to the ground. It was like he caught the ball. How many steps do you fucking need to take before it's a catch? So I agree with you, Ryan. That was a terrible call. What can I say? Cincinnati just fucking dominated them as I thought they would. And again, you study the game and then you make your pick and then you look at the line. And I never got caught up in Buffalo being a 6-point favorite or the line kept moving from 4.5 to 5.5 to 6. I never got caught up in maybe I should take Buffalo. It was great. I got more points. That was my lock, Cincinnati with Frisco. That was the first lock I posted. The Niners only laying 3.5 and Cincinnati getting 5. I thought that game would end 3, and I thought Frisco would go to 7, and I was shocked at the closing line of 6 for Buffalo. Why is Buffalo a 6-point favorite? How the fuck are they beating this Cincinnati team? Again, Joe Burrow was playing. The only concern, I had no concern about the linemen because, believe me, every team has 10 linemen in their back pocket. It's not hard. All they do is block, and it's not hard to block. Why are some better than others? I don't know. I guess they can, keep the guy out longer or whatever, but it's all the same. And if you notice Joe Burrow, to compensate, what did he do? He ran a lot more, right? He'd go back to pass as soon as he smelled the guys coming. He took up. That was how he adjusted to, I know I got 2 linemen out. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to sneak up, and then I'll look for Chase, which is exactly what he did. I don't know if he got sacked. I didn't see the totals, but they adjusted to the linemen. They knew the linemen were out. The new linemen had chance. So now here this week, okay, now the linemen have played a game, and they played pretty fucking good, and they put up 27 on again, Buffalo's defense was okay, but nobody was talking Von Miller injury, even though it happened a month ago. Why did that go away? Well, let's focus on the 2 Cincinnati line being hurt, but we will just ignore Von Miller got hurt a month ago, which is killing Buffalo's defense, which they're giving up 30 points to Skylar Thompson and 23 to Jones of New England. Like, what's Joe Burrow going to do? He should have put up 50. I didn't see the snow coming. I checked the weather. You heard me here. I never said snow. Calm day, light wind turned into heavy wind. Never turned into snow. Not that that matters. It actually helps the offense because the receiver knows where he's going and the defender's got to react. So it's really a plus for the offense. Josh Allen, this is why I tell you he's not good, because look what happens in the big games. Okay, he got lucky against Kansas City that nobody was covering the guy when they scored all those touchdowns late in the game last year in the championship game that KC won. Here they got him at home, Cincinnati. They can't handle Cincinnati. Maybe with Von Miller it would have been a better game. Well, it would have been a better game, but look where Josh Allen, he went in the tank just like Prescott, just like Lawrence, just like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is very impressive. What was he, 3 of 10 for 100 yards and I don't know how many picks? I mean, Philly just killed them. See, the defenses take over now. That's why you need a quarterback like Burrow or maybe a Mahomes, somebody who can do it. Now, Purdy looks fine. He hits Kittle down the middle. Dallas was playing very strong defense. He didn't flinch, didn't throw an interception. What the fuck is everybody looking at him? Purdy's now going to play bad. Why? He just played well against Seattle, and now he just played well against Dallas. You don't think he's going to play well against Philadelphia? Come on. Now, keep in mind, Philadelphia, with their 70 sacks, I think they had 5 or 6 sacks Saturday, but they'll prepare for it. That's why you got Samuel. That's why you got McCaffrey. That's why you got Kittle. You just throw these short little passes when they blitz you, stops them from blitzing because they, you dink it to McCaffrey or you dink it to Samuel and they're gone. So you got to be careful blitzing Frisco. And Purdy shows me that he's fine. I saw no problem there. I would have wished Joe Montana went out and played a little bit yesterday. Him and Rice were at the game. Steve Young, I thought, what a choke that guy was. Ryan, these weekend games are going to be pretty good. The new linemen look better than the starters. Well, that's my point. This is why I tell you I would never draft a lineman in the first round. You really need the running back and the defensive studs in the first round. That's who you want to take. Right, I would take Rising or Hartman. I would take some studs on the Georgia defense. I wouldn't take anybody from Alabama. And I would never take an offensive lineman or a tight end in the first round because it's a waste. And because, like I said, and you just proved the point, Ryan, I can get the guys probably out of Ohio State or Alabama who didn't get drafted. He comes in. Now it's his chance, and he plays great. And why do I need to draft them in the first round? Because there's only so many studs available. And if I take an offensive lineman, I can't get the stud I need. I go back to the Lions last year. What the fuck are they doing? They trade 2 first-round picks in the low 20s, trade them for this wide receiver from Alabama who, okay, he's fast, whippy. They all are fast. They all do nothing in the pros. Okay, Judy, he's an average receiver. Waddle, he's okay, not special. Devontae Smith, he doesn't look like he did at Alabama, does he? He kind of gets open and they tackle him and, he catches the ball. He gets open, but not like Alabama where he's running free for 80-yard touchdowns every play. They don't do that in the pros. They're just regular receivers. So to trade 2 first-round picks to move up to 13 to get a wide receiver from Alabama is the stupidest move in the world. And they could have had 2 Georgia guys, especially the best linebacker in college. He fell to like the 3rd round. They could have had him and another defensive lineman to go with Hutchinson. And then they wouldn't have had the worst defense in football. And as you can see, San Francisco, Philly, Cincinnati, that's how you win. You don't win with Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones and these bums. Hey, Greg and John, hope I made you some money. Well, there you go. 2 interceptions. Should have been a pick 6. I thought the first one was a pick 6 for sure. And then the guy dropped the pick 6 in the last couple of minutes of the game when they had the ball at their own like 15, and he threw it. The linebacker hit him in the stomach, and you can see he's going to walk in for the touchdown. I was a little upset because I wanted my pick six. And then they showed Dak's face, and he's not even like remorseful. It was like, oh, well, I guess I threw another interception. Why do they think he's a good quarterback? So he ended up with 23 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. What is that all about? So San Francisco just dominated with the defense, which I told you was the point of the bet. Was the defense of San Francisco is going to shut down Dallas, and they weren't playing Tom Brady in Tampa, and they couldn't just go after Purdy. They had to watch McCaffrey, and then Eli, whatever, came in and got the touchdown. McCaffrey, I love how he scored that late touchdown. He just walked in, and that put the icing on the cake. I was a little bit disappointed. We had the game won, and the guy goes out of bounds after getting the first down, or the game's over, and you're like, Jesus Christ, how does the guy run out of bounds, man? Get down. What the fuck are you doing? So we had to have a little bit more sweat. But what was that play at the end of the game? We'll put Ezekiel Elliott will hike the ball. We got 4 guys here and 4. What the fuck was that? And then he throws a 5-yard pass. And I assumed they were going to do laterals with it, which that play really works, the lateral play. And then they just nailed them. Although I was a little uncomfortable, what the fuck are the Niners doing, peeling the guys back? Like, keep the pressure on them and don't sit there and rush 2 guys and let them just throw it. I cringe. Just keep playing what you're doing. They can't get a first down. Why are you changing your defense? So I really hate that. They should play the backup now. I'm telling you, Cooper Rush gives Dallas a better chance to win than Prescott. You need to trade Prescott. Maybe they should trade him for Aaron Rodgers, although I doubt Aaron Rodgers would want to go play for McCarthy again. And so what's McCarthy? He's a good coach, really? He got so out-coached by Shanahan, it was a joke. He had no answer for that. Now, Pollard got hurt, which was great. Elliott sucks. Elliott, was good at Ohio State, but so was Fields, and so were all the other Ohio State quarterbacks. J.K. Dobbins was great at Ohio State, doesn't do anything in the pros. So this is why we bet defense, right? What did we do? Our locks, Cincinnati, Frisco. We had the best 2 defenses going against teams. Now, Dallas came with a better defense than I've seen all year since Cooper Rush. I used to bet him under the first 3 or 4 weeks. Rush would get 17 points and they'd shut him out. Then when Prescott comes back and he starts throwing these interceptions and the defense starts getting tired and they give up a lot more points. Look at the Green Bay game. They gave up, 30 points. So this is not the defense I saw all year. I don't know where it came from. Micah Parsons did nothing in the game. That one guy, Lawrence, looked like a superstar. They probably weren't blocking him. So the Niners do what they do. Very complex offense, well-balanced, which is what we love. Good quarterback, good running. Deebo Samuel's, McCaffrey. You got Kittle. They don't really have that Jerry Rice receiver. Although Rice was there, I was hoping he'd get out there and him and Montana could play. Roger Craig probably got booed for his fumble in the 90 championship game against the Giants. They got the game won, and he fumbles at his own 25, and the Giants kick a field goal to win, and it cost them the 3rd straight Super Bowl. So I don't know why Roger Craig would show up at the stadium because nobody likes that guy. So that's what you have. So we bet the best defense. We bet the 16 defense, best in the league, 19-12. And had I known Dallas was going to play that good, I would have locked it under, but I locked the Niners. And again, I don't get compromised by the line. I don't analyze the line going that. I say the line is Buffalo -3 is what it should have been because the game was in Buffalo. Not that I gave you the score, 34-31 Cincinnati. That's what I thought the score was going to be, but I thought the line should have been laying 3. You give me 6, and now I get 12 with Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. Thank you, God. And then you go with the Niners, should be a 10-point favorite. I only got to lay 3.5. I get 2.5 with the team I'm expecting to lay 4 with, and they win by 7. I mean, it's just very easy. But that's why I kind of yesterday was like very firm on I make up my mind and I stick to it. And this is why. When I see a bad line, I don't analyze why is Buffalo 6? Because you got idiots betting is why. The sharps betting. How many sharps are out? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? All I know is why was that line 6? There was no reason in the world that line should have been 6. But what do? We take advantage of it. We took 11.5. We took some 12s. I locked Cincinnati 2 times. They're in 2 plays. Again, one with the Niners and one with KC over. Boom. The only mistake I made, I took another KC over with Cincinnati over, assuming that we would get to 42. I can't believe I didn't get to 42 in a Buffalo game. I really can't believe they only scored 10 points. I was hoping at the end he throws the interception at the goal line that I would have gotten that late touchdown like I did with Jacksonville with the late field goal and got the win there. But that's what you do. You stick with your guns. KC I thought was a bit too much. I thought should be 7, and I probably would have played at -1. Now, again, KC, you get the injury to Mahomes. Well, that you can't plan. I still got the over, which I was shocked. But again, you can't. Once Mahomes gets injured, it's a whole new ball game. So you can't really go there. Philly just dismantled KC. Now, here's the problem. Now, I knew that because Sims can't throw, and they didn't let him run because Philly's faster than Sims. And that's what you get. The defense is faster than the quarterback. So if Lamar Jackson thinks he's going to run on Philadelphia, he ain't going to do shit. That's why you need a passing quarter. Now, Purdy could do something against Philly. We'll find out. So you cannot look at Philly and the Giants and look at it as Philly and Frisco. This is like Dallas, Tampa. It's a whole new ball game. They're not playing the Giants with that weak defense and Daniel Jones. They're playing Purdy, McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Kittle. This is a whole different fucking team than the Giants. And that's what people get caught up and fuck up around with. They look at the Philly last week. They see him blow out. Oh, here comes Frisco. They're going to blow him out. There's no way they're going to blow him out. Now, this game to me, okay, so we got it out. KC, we picked the over. Philly we had. Cincinnati we had. And the Niners we had. As you know, as I gave them out. Free pick was the Niners, that one. Told you to play them with Cincy, that one. So I got you some money. The reason you buy from me is you would have locked the games and bet a lot more and bet them in 2 teasers. That's why you buy from me. So I'm giving you help by saying take the Niners, but you don't know how to play it. It's like poker. Well, I got a full house. How do I bet it? Well, you got to read the other guy and know how much you can bet. So I'll quickly go to a poker scenario for you to kind of correlate what I'm talking about. So when I play poker, I know who I'm playing against, and I know what I can do against them. So if I got this old man who's very tight and I bet $20 and he stays in, I know he's got a hand. I hit a full house on the river, let's say. I know I can probably bet $75 he's going to stay in because I want him to stay in. That's why most of these all-in bets are bluffs because they don't want you to call. They want you to fold. But if I got a full house, I want to call. So I want the old man to call me. How much can I bet on him? So if I can go, if he sees 20, I know he's in. He's an old man. He's only going to play when he's got good cards. There's no way he's bluffing, but I don't care. I got a full house. So I pick it up to 50, 75. I want to get paid off. 99 out of 100, they call. So if I know it's the old man who's tight, and I know that, then I can bet that and get paid off. So when you're betting football, it's how much can I bet that I want to risk? Not that I can get paid off, because obviously it's that, but what are my odds on winning are pretty fucking good with the Niners yesterday and that defense. So that's what I mean. It's how much do you bet? And then in teaser world, I had them in 2 teasers. I had Cincinnati in 2 teasers. That's the upper level of teasers, which I need to teach you. So once you find your San Francisco, or we had the Georgia over with TCU, or we had TCU Michigan, or we had Georgia Ohio State, those were all in multiple teasers for a lot of money. Versus UCLA, it was okay, but not as big as it would have been if it was a regular season game. Or USC was pretty big, but like the Kansas over with Arkansas was a big bet in multiple teasers. That was a lock. But some of them, like Utah, was a very small play. So you have to learn how much do you bet each teaser and how many teasers do you put it in. And that's why you got to figure out the game. And my thought process on Frisco was 10, and I see the line of 4. I immediately said, this is my lock. And I posted it Monday or Tuesday. You can ask Nick when he comes on. It was, Nick, we're playing the Niners and Cincinnati. You've got to be kidding with these lines. And I pounded it big in a lock. And then I pounded it again once I studied. I think I had Philly with Frisco. And then I had Kansas City over with Cincinnati. So I played it twice. Now, Philly, I only played once because I didn't know they hadn't played like that in a while. But Frisco's won, 11, 12 in a row. Cincinnati's now won like 10 in a row. So you know my system. If red hits roulette, we're playing red until black hits. Or back rack, we're playing the bank until the player hits, or vice versa. So I'm on the streak, but they both have much better defenses than what you see. So that's the part you're missing if you just take the pick. Oh, I'm going to bet Frisco, and I bet $50 on them, or maybe you bet $100 on them. So that's what you see. Again, a guy asked me, are those my real stats on my website in the history page? Well, you'll see. You'll see it tomorrow. You'll see my picks. You'll see Frisco, Cincinnati lock for 2,700 or whatever. That's, but I don't really keep track. Their wins, their losses, and I'm studying next week. I know I'm winning. And because I can do this, that's why I win a lot. I don't want to sound like a Madoff and go, well, every year I win. If I was a Madoff, it would be every week I win. Well, I don't win every week, obviously. But every year I do win because I figure out the San Franciscos and the Cincinnatis. And I know to bet on Joe Burrow. And so I figure out that Kansas is the over team. Kansas State was good. TCU was the over team. So those are the teams, USC, UCLA, Utah. So you figure all that out. I remember the second week USC was playing Stanford laying 7. And I had a huge lock on USC because I said, this is Oklahoma, in the Pac-10. They're going to kill Stanford. And they killed Stanford. But I mean, that's the things I do, and then that's why I win. I look for that, I find it, and off we go. And that's why for the year I win. I don't win every week, and I don't claim to win. I'm not Bernie Madoff. I don't go 100%, but I want credit for saying, yes, I do know how to figure it out, which is what I do very well. So I had Frisco by 10, 27-17. They win 19-12, so pretty good there. And Cincy 34-31 had the balls to take Cincy to win, and they won, getting 12. So, I expected Buffalo with more points. Philly kills the Giants, and KC. Jacksonville does score somehow. I don't know how they score with Lawrence. Anyway, so there you go, 4-0. Only loser was the over in the Buffalo game, which is okay. I hit 3 locks, and I lose the lock on the Buffalo over. So I hit Frisco and Cincy and the KC over. Those 3 locks I hit. So a very good weekend. I was very happy. It's funny, when Philly won the way they did, I knew I was winning both games Sunday. And then Cincy wins, and I'm like, okay, Frisco's going to win. They got down a little bit, but then here they, and then at the end, they pulled away. And at the end, Dallas got tired because Dallas, it was like a college team. They were all emotional. It was like they're playing Alabama, super emotional, which I knew they'd be in trouble in the second half playing at that energy level. They were playing very afraid. And the problem is they had Dak Prescott. So it didn't matter how good the defense was going to play. Dak was going to give you a couple of interceptions. I'm surprised you didn't fumble, and I'm surprised there was no pick six. But as I told somebody to take the prop over 0.5, and I know he bet it. He told me he bet it over the 0.5. That was the easiest prop I've ever seen. Dak over point. It could have been Dak over 1.5, and I would have told him to take it. So now we get down to Frisco, Philly, Cincinnati, KC. So let's take the look ahead. I think we've exhausted what happened yesterday. Obviously, Cincinnati's lineman, not a problem. McCafferty, I don't know if he had a calf injury, but he looked okay scoring the touchdown. Eli, whatever his name is, Eli Wallace or whatever, looked good as another running back. Samuel's playing. Kittle looks good. Brock Purdy. Now, this is the problem I have with radio or TV, the BetMGM guys. Well, Brock Purdy, he's due for a bad game. Really? Why is he due for a bad game? And why is he going to have it against Dallas? Why is he due for a bad game? Is Black due to hit when Red hit 10 times in a row? Absolutely not. It's the same thing. Red's been hitting. Red's going to keep hitting. So you don't have that, Red's due, I'm going to bet Red. Keep betting Red when Black's hit 10 times in a row and you go to the poorhouse. You keep betting on the thing. There was no reason. Purdy looks nervous, looks like he's going to have a problem. Those passes to Kittle and Samuel were dead on, right, hit him in the chest. The only guy I see throwing like that is Joe Burrow. So he's right up in that class. He looks fabulous. I don't know. I heard, well, what are they going to do with him and Trey Lance? And it's like, he's 100 times better. Why would you sit him out for Trey Lance? Why in God's name? The guy just beat Dallas. The guy takes you to the Super Bowl. You're going to sit him down for Trey Lance? Really? So fucking trade Trey Lance. Why expose him that he's bad? All he can do is run. We don't have a clue if he's any good. I would have. If you don't stick with Brock Purdy, then you might as well fold up and stop being a pro football team, because you're fucked if you can't see this guy's got talent and you're worried about Trey Lance. So it shows who should have been drafted number 3. Should have been Brock Purdy, not Trey Lance. But because he went to North Dakota State and he's a running quarterback who can't throw, we'll draft him number 3, which I thought was a wasted pick. Which it is. So I hear that, and I hear these guys, and it's so frustrating because they're so stupid. He's due for a bad. He's not due for a bad. He's not due for a bad game against Philly. He's playing a tough defense in Philly. He probably won't light it up, but he's not due for a bad game. Nobody's due for a bad game. The guy's 8 for 8 in baseball. He's due for a slump. I mean, what the fuck? Where did these guys come from? They're so fucking stupid. So let's look at the first game. Frisco, Philly. Philly, my spread, lane 3. They're both A teams, strong offense, strong defense. Frisco, a 16 defense, gave up 12 to, a decent Dallas offense. Philadelphia, a 20 defense. They're also an A team. So they both score 25 to 30 points, and they give up 16 to 20. The real line's 2.5, 45.5. My first initial look is to go under this game. Now, do I like the Niners in 8.5? Certainly. I would tease the dog, but the under is so much more attractive. How the fuck is this game going to 50? I mean, this is, what? Now, Philly ain't going to score 38. Not against this team. And the Niners got a 19 against a good Dallas defense, but they're not as good. They're a 20, and Philly's a 20. So I would look for a similar score. I think it stays under 20. I think it's going to be a 17-14, bang it out type of game. I don't see Philly putting up a lot of points, and I don't see the Niners putting up a lot of points. If either team's got a better coach, it's Frisco's got a better offensive coach, yet he can't manage the game. He chokes when he's got the lead, as he tried to do yesterday with the prevent defense. Just fucking, why did the guy get out of bounds when all he had to do is fall down, the game's over, he runs out of bounds. That prolongs it. They at least punt it, and then you have now let's play prevent. So he's trying to lose the game because just keep the same defense you've been using, keep. There's nobody on Dallas I'm worried about. If you need to double team CeeDee Lamb, double team him. I don't see why. So I think Frisco will come up with ways to score. I think Kittle's the big edge and Deebo Samuel. Those are your key guys. I don't know McCaffrey. He'll go out on these swing passes and screens. I think Philly's too fast for that. But I think Deebo Samuel is the key. And then Kittle over the middle and with his hands, I think he's their offense next week. And I don't even know who their receivers are, Frisco's. Nobody very good. Well, I guess Deebo Samuel's the one in Kittle. So Philly with the ball. Now you got Jalen Hurts. He's going to throw an interception or two here. He's not the best quarterback who can throw the ball. Purdy's a better thrower. He's about like Dak Prescott. He runs. He's erratic. He's got two good receivers, which the Niners have the defense for. Obviously, Philly's much better, 70 sacks. I think they got 5 on Jones. But keep in mind, all they were doing is running Barkley and running Jones, and there was no real threat of receivers that the Niners have. They got to respect Kittle and Samuel, which then puts a whole different – I can't just send the kitchen sink to Purdy. Purdy's pretty good at reading. He doesn't seem to get rattled. He doesn't throw picks, and he doesn't seem – when the blitz is on, I don't think he gets sacked all that much. He seems to be able to get rid of the ball. So you got a whole different animal here. Can Philly handle Frisco? Can Frisco handle Philly? Frisco's defense is the best by a mile. Hurts is going to run. I'm sure Frisco's speed's unbelievable. I don't think Hurts does shit running the ball. Now you got Boston Scott and, the running backs for Philly are okay. But the Giants are a pass defense, so they are made to rush the passer like the Minnesota Vikings in the 70s when they kept losing Super Bowls to running teams, when Miami and Pittsburgh would run right through them because their defense was not set up for run. It was set up to stop Roger Staubach and the Cowboys, who didn't run and who just passed. So that's why Minnesota was made to stop Dallas, which they did, and they got into 4 Super Bowls stopping Dallas. However, they never could stop Green Bay with Lombardi, and they had trouble against power running teams. And the Eagles, stopped the run of the Giants. So I think the Eagles are looking to blitz. So it's the Eagles that can they stop a power running team who's balanced? Can they stop a balanced team? And this is the question. I don't know. I don't have a score yet. I need to look at it more. I can give you trends. The Niners are 10-0 as a road dog, 16-3 overall. So we've got a very strong road dog in the Niners at 10-0. Philly is 15-3 overall. They're not a very strong home favorite. They're okay. They're like 16-4 as a home favorite, which to me 75% doesn't get on my radar. The 10-0 gets on my radar. They're 10-0 the last 2 years as a road dog, San Francisco. So they play very good as the dog, 16-3 overall, which includes yesterday. And I think Philly's 15-3. So not a problem for San Francisco to be the dog. You got 2.5, you go up to 8.5. Very strong play because you're not going to get a high scoring game here. Philly's not running it up, what you would think. I think the only team that can beat Frisco is Cincinnati because of Joe Burrow. I think that's the only team, and they have the defense. That's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl. So do you like how I told you the Final Four, right? I told you that Frisco, Philly, KC, Cincinnati. I'm going to take the dogs, and I'm going to stick with that. So, yes, Philly looked great against the Giants, but they're not playing the Giants. This is back to Dallas, Tampa, Dallas, Frisco. You got to respect this defense of Frisco. This will be a close game. I would never take Philly in 3.5 here. My line's 3. This line's 2.5. Probably go to 3. It's okay. It's right where it should be. And again, that's not the score. It's what I think the line should be. We're looking for bad lines. That's what we got. Dallas 10 was only 3.5. Now, I did pick Dallas to win by 10, but the line was this is what it should be. And when I got 3.5, I knew the line was off 7 points. So we took the Niners with the bad line, and same thing with Buffalo. Should have been 3, was 5.5, 6. I'm getting 3 extra points with Joe Burrow. Thank you very much. So that's really what I'm looking for when I make the line. So Philly -3 should be the line, not who's going to win, but should be the line. It's 2.5, makes sense. The other game, KC is -3, but you got the Mahomes injury. Somehow KC's favored by 1.5. I can't bet Cincinnati in 7.5 quick enough. This is a joke. First of all, Cincinnati's going to win the game straight up. We're going to get 7.5 points. Mahomes, even if he plays, apparently he's got a high ankle sprain. It takes a month to get over a high ankle sprain. So this is football. How the fuck's he going to move around and complete passes against this defense that basically shut out Josh Allen? They beat KC the last 3 times, and you got Burrow and Chase, and apparently the linemen are not an issue. Good fucking Lord. This is like, okay. I see Cincy winning by at least 10 here. Especially with Mahomes. If Mahomes was 100%, I'd be taking Cincinnati. But with Mahomes injured, I mean, this is a joke, Cincinnati. But I'm not going to go over because Mahomes is injured, and Cincinnati's defense just shut the Buffalo fucking down. So I got to believe this is an under game. Well, let's look at this game. Cincinnati's is an A team, got a 20 defense, the same as San Francisco and Philly. But KC is not an A team. They're an over team. They score a lot, but their defense gives up, 22, and they gave up 20 to Jacksonville. So they're a good defense, but in this case, I want the 16 to be the under defense, the 20 on the edge of the under, and then 22 is probably an E or an over defense. And the way they look, they're not, I'm going to put them at, let's put them as an E. Let's call KC an over team with an E defense. Either way, they got the worst defense there, and we know what happens with defenses. We know Burrow is going to eat them alive. Buffalo theoretically had an 18, but not without Von Miller. Without Von Miller is at least a 22, which is why I like Cincinnati also. So KC, kind of a weak defense, but now you've taken the firepower out of Mahomes, and they probably should go with Henny. I think that's their only chance they have. I just don't see Mahomes. He's going to be limping around. Cincinnati's going to be all over him. So, again, the better defense, Cincinnati, the better offense, Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and Mahomes, I'll take Joe Burrow any day. And they got Chase. KC doesn't have a receiver like Chase anymore. Tyreek Hill's gone. They don't have the real strong running back. He clears out. So I think Cincinnati's the better team here, and they're going to win, and we get 7.5 points. There you go. Now, your question is, how much do I bet? Is it a lock? That's right. That's why you pay me the big bucks. Cincinnati, 15-2 is a road dog. 10-0 is a road dog. 15-2 over the few years. 15-0 as a dog, Cincinnati, and I told you they were 14-0. But play against Kansas City as a home favorite, 8-0. So KC sucks as a home favorite anyway. They don't blow anybody out at home regardless. 16-4 over the years, play against home favorite. So what you have is a weak home favorite in Cincinnati. You got a very strong road dog, a team that just beat Buffalo. That's extremely pissed. This is not a neutral site, which I'm happy because KC's the favorite, and it doesn't matter. It's just fuel to the fire. You got Joe Burrow and Chase. Thank you very much. I will bet on Joe Montana all fucking day. So this game's easy. Cincinnati is the dog. The first game, I think, is going to be knock them, drag them out type of thing. I do have to look at Philly as far as what they, similar type of teams, which I guess would be strong defensive teams, which they don't really play. Dallas was a 40-34 game, which doesn't sound like it's a strong defensive game. See, that's what puzzles me about Dallas. They play Philly with Minshew, and they beat them 40-34. So why would I think Dallas, in any shape or form, has a good defense? Then, okay, Tampa Bay, what was the score? It was 31-14, of which Tampa had the ball at the 2-yard line on 2 different occasions. So it was 31-28. So where's the defense? So, I think it was a championship game. Well, it was a divisional championship game, so it was a little bit tighter. Dallas brought the emotion. Philly's going to bring the emotion in Philly. Purdy doesn't really turn it over, and the defense will keep minute. So I think Philly's going to try to blitz Purdy and get the turnovers, and it all comes to the turnovers. If the Niners get Hurts for a few turnovers, he fumbles, throws the interception, maybe it's a pick six, that's going to be the difference in this game, which defense gets the turnovers. And I can't tell you Purdy's going to choke because he hasn't shown it. He killed Seattle, and now he's beat Dallas pretty comfortably. Thanks to Prescott's 2 picks. Hurts is going to give us some picks, and Purdy might give us a pick. How good's he going to read the defense? Will Philly get sacks? That's the key to the game. If he doesn't have any time and Philly gets all these sacks, but that's where you go to Shanahan, and he should be okay reading all this bullshit and preventing him just going back and getting sacked. But you got to respect Philly's defense, which gets me to the under, because that could happen where Purdy gets sacked and then they can't score and Philly gets some cheap touchdowns because they get all the sacks. That's why I like the under in the game. I do like the dog, whoever it was, and then at 45, I go to 51. Now, the closing line will be Philly minus 4. Over-under will drop down about 43. KC, Cincinnati will end up being favored by 1 or 2, and the over-under will probably drop to 45 once you realize Mahomes is limping around with a high ankle sprain, which is really a broken ankle, but it's higher. And, when you break your feet, there's nothing you can do. It just heals. You just limp around on crutches and put a cast on, but you can't heal it, which gets me to my health, which is a different subject. But that's how I view it. I still think it can be Frisco, Cincy. I think Cincy's in the Super Bowl. I think it's Frisco or Philly. It'll be a good game. It'll be very strong defense, but I think the only person that can beat Frisco or Philly is Joe Burrow. He's the only one that can do it. So it'll be a hell of a matchup, Cincy against either Philly or Frisco. I don't see KC having any chance in this game. It's not going to be close. It's going to be a bloodbath. Look what they did to Buffalo with a healthy Josh Allen. They had it at home. They had the snow. They had every advantage, and they got killed. They didn't lose. They got killed 27-10. Jesus Christ. So I just, since he's going to win, and we're getting points, and then it's just a matter of Frisco, Philly, and I think you just right now I got to go under before the under drops. This is an under game. You got two super strong defenses, so you quit fucking around. As soon as you see what's going on, you go with, is it an over game? Like Jacksonville, KC, both defenses suck, both offenses scored. So you immediately went to the over. You didn't overthink it. Like UCLA, Utah, USC, UCLA. You immediately saw it was a 60-something. You bet the game over as soon as possible. You didn't fuck around with the dog or the favorite. You went where the game should go, which was over. Georgia, TCU. I didn't fuck around with TCU. I went right to the over. That was the lock. That was the play. Very obvious, and that's what the bet was. This is a very obvious under. Very obvious. Now, do I pick Philly or Frisco? This we'll see, but I don't know. We'll make your free pick Cincinnati just to help you, but you don't know how much to bet, and you don't know what to do with it. That's the problem. Is what do you do with the money? What do you do with the bet? How much do you bet? And that's really the next level that I will get you to, is determining how to bet these things. So the first step is analyzing the games, coming out with your own line, coming out with your score, seeing where the line is. Like Frisco, 10-point favorites is only 3.5. We're betting Frisco. Then you get to, okay, we're betting them. How do we bet them? What makes a lock than a regular play? Why was Cincinnati, Frisco my lock, but Philadelphia wasn't? What creates the lock? What creates the bigger plays? Because it's all about winning the big bets. You're going to lose your bet. You know you're going to lose a lot. You know you're going to win a lot, right? The key is winning the bigger bets. So you win 1,000 and you lose 200. That's the key to it, right? So you try to bet more on the one game you really like, and then the other game you bet small. You win the big one, you lose the small one. Now, sometimes you win them both. Sometimes you lose your big one, but more than most, you hit the big one and then you hit a few small ones and you lose a small one. Or maybe you hit a big one, you lose a pretty big one, you lose a small one. I mean, I've had everything, right? That's what you understand. But if you just keep being consistent, this is another lock. I love the Niners. I love Cincy yesterday. Now, why? Well, partly the spread, partly the defense, partly the coach and quarterback. So I love Cincinnati because of Joe Burrow and the defense, and Buffalo has no defense. So that made me real confident Cincinnati was going to win. Frisco, with their defense, I wasn't afraid of Brock Purdy. Like I said, he beat Oklahoma like 4 years in a row. He plays Oklahoma, Texas, TCU. He plays big games at Iowa State and Iowa, and he wins them. So, come on. It's like Michigan's quarterback, Ohio State, Alabama. They play in front of big crowds. Georgia, they play in the fucking championship game every year. You think I would draft Stetson Bennett in the first round. All the guy does is fucking win. He was down to Ohio State. He brought him right back, threw a touchdown, and won the game. You can't tell me why you would. Stetson Bennett to me is the same as Brock Purdy. Got balls, smart. He's elusive. He's a good quarterback. But because you didn't go to Alabama, you're gonna take the Alabama quarterback, even though he lost 4 games this year. No, they weren't his fault. He couldn't control the defense against Tennessee, and he threw a lot of good passes. But you're not getting wide open receivers in the pros, as we see. And he likes to run. You're not going to, that works a little bit. Doesn't work when you play a Niners or Philly or Cincinnati defense. The running doesn't work. Look at Lamar Jackson. He's been injured for 2 years now. Okay, Hurts is injured. He says his shoulder is really bothering him. Look for the Niners to hit the shoulder a lot. So really that's what you look at. That's how you come up with the lock. So Frisco, Cincinnati, the spread was wrong. Frisco's -10 is only -3.5. So that's a lock. Had it been 10, it wouldn't have been a lock, but because you're only giving it to me at 3.5. And I say that a lot in college with the over-unders. The over-unders 58 on a, on a UCLA game, I'm going over, right? I'm locking it. If it's 75, I'm not. That's the difference. And so it depends on the point spread. But that's where you have to trust yourself that you know what you're doing, which most people don't, which is why I'm unique. And I'd say there's maybe 10 people like me in the world, right? So you're very lucky. You've got access to my mind that can figure out the game, figure out the point spread, figure out, not the score exactly, but I had Cincy winning 34-31. I had Cincy winning, and they did win. So you have access to this, but that's the key to it. Why did they win? How did they win? And when I look at a game, I look at the Philly game, or let's say Dallas-Tampa. I said, I warned you, they're not playing Tampa again. Tampa had no running attack. Frisco does. So you're playing a whole different team with a great defense at San Francisco. And like I said, they lost 2 days, and you could see in the fourth quarter, they were all fired up in the first quarter. In the fourth quarter, Dallas was flat. And the fact they had to play on Monday night came into play in the fourth quarter, which nobody talked about but me. That was key and critical. At the end, they had nothing left. They were flat. The defense, Frisco walked right down and scored. And then when Dallas needed to come back, they had nothing left. They barely tried. They ran 3 plays, got sacked, and punted with 2 minutes left. And if the guy doesn't run out of bounds, the game's over because they got 2 first downs right away. So that was my point. So that's how you come up with it. We got a bad line we had a great line on the Frisco game, only laying 3, and then we got a great line in Cincinnati where instead of 3, we're getting 6. So we're getting over 10 points with Joe Burrow. And so you got to know Joe Burrow's great and Chase, and you got to know since he's got the great defense. So you've got to know what you're looking for to get to how to figure out the game. Now we're figuring out Frisco-Philly. We got Titan against Titan. We got strong defense against strong defense, 1 versus 2. You're not getting a lot of points in this game. So we figure that out. Now we look at the total. It's 45.5. I'm going to go under 51.5. Where the fuck are you going to get 50 points in this game? 50 points is 7 touchdowns and a field goal. How are you going to get 7 touchdowns in this game? There's no way. I mean, you're going to be lucky to get 3 touchdowns in this game. You'll be lucky if either team gets to 20. It'll be 19-12, probably a pretty good score of this game. You're not scoring a lot on Frisco, especially a championship game. They come to eat, and it's much more conservative offensively. You're not going to go for it on 4th down. How much is Hurts going to run when he gets crushed by one of those linebackers? He ain't running after that, right? Because the Niners are coming. They got speed. They're all faster than Hurts. So if Hurts thinks he's just going to run, there's no fucking way. Boston Scott or these guys aren't going to run for shit. The receivers probably aren't going to get open, not against this secondary, not from what I saw. All right, CeeDee Lamb caught a few passes. That's it. He didn't get open. And then how is the pass rush for the Niners going to get to Hurts so he can't sit there and hit these receivers? Then you go to Philly, and they're going to be putting pressure on Purdy. I'm not worried about him handling it, but he's not going to have a lot of time. He's going to quick throw to Kittle, quick throw to Deebo Samuel, and quick throw to McCaffrey. And how much is the scoring is that? So you get a few field goals from Robbie Gould. You get a few field goals from Philly. It's going to be a lot of field goals in the game, not a lot of touchdowns. So this is a beautiful under. And then Cincy, better defense. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is as good as Mahomes, good as they get. He's got Chase. They already figured out the lineman. He kind of comes up. Not that Kansas City's got a defense to handle it. There's no fucking way Kansas City's blowing out Cincinnati, who just blew out Buffalo, who's pretty pissed that this game is not in Atlanta. Not that they need any incentive, but they've beaten KC 3 times in a row. Very live dog Cincinnati. So that's how you come up with it, right? 2 strong defenses. I'm going under in the Frisco game. Cincinnati's a better team than KC. Mahomes is injured, high ankle sprain. There's no fucking way he's going to be 100%. He's going to be limping around. They shouldn't be favored now, since he should be a 3-point favorite right now. That's what you have to look at. So that's my point. So let's take a look if the lines moved since an hour ago. Coming. All right, so we're at scores and odds, but we understand FanDuel's biased here, so we got to go into the games. So we've got Philly 2.5, 45.5, and I don't have the line yet, so I can't look at that for some reason. Cincy KC, I got. See, they normally give you the lines, but it's too early, I guess. So all we can do is go with the FanDuel line. So they're not updated yet. So all I can do is go with the 2.5 that's there and the 1.5 that's there. So I will make my bet accordingly with those lines. I guess tonight they'll be updated. We'll see. All right. Oh, wait, let's see. No change. So I'm keen to jump on Cincinnati. I'm not hearing of an injury except for the 2 linemen, which didn't make any effect. Again, it's Burrow and Chase. They didn't get injured. And then it's Philadelphia. I saw that game. I didn't see Purdy played. Everybody played. McCaffrey, they said maybe he hurt his calf, which is even better for the under. I'm sure he'll play. I'm sure he'll be fine. But he did come out. He got a little dinged up, but then he came back in. I think he scored. Did he score or Mitchell? Mitchell looked fine too, so I'm not really worried if McCaffrey's not there, although he's good at catching the passes out of the backfield. Samuel looked fine. Kittle was fine in the post game with Purdy. So I don't see any major injuries that happened. Again, you're watching for defensive injuries if you're betting the game under. If you're betting the game over, you want defensive injuries. But if you're betting the game under, you want offensive injuries. So basically, that's what you're doing. You're picking it. So let's go through our locks. Our first lock was San Diego, Jacksonville. Again, I thought Jacksonville was a 3-point favorite. They made San Diego 1.5, 2-point favorites. I still like San Diego getting 4. I locked it because they were the better team, up 27-0. The coaches fall apart. They play not to lose, so they lose. Never should have lost, but we got the win, and I locked that game with Cincinnati over Baltimore. Cincinnati -1 with the better team. Baltimore's backup quarterbacks played. Even if it was Lamar, it would have been a lock Cincinnati. Two good defenses. So that's Cincinnati-Baltimore, right? It's a 41 with Joe Burrow against another good defense, which is where I'm getting with Frisco-Philly, right? You got the 2 defenses will control the game. So a 41 there, that's the first lock. Then we get into the locks yesterday. Obviously, Kansas City over. Mahomes gets hurt. We still get there. Cincinnati getting 12 points from anybody. The Niners only laying 3, which we know they're the best team. them in Philly, and the only one I lost was Cincy Buffalo over, which should have been, how does Buffalo score 10 points? I don't think you've seen that all year long. The snow didn't hurt them, so that was really bizarre. Now, since he's going to play like that, they're going to shut out Kansas City, especially with Mahomes. Mahomes, without a good foot, with a high ankle sprain, ain't going to do shit against this team. And you got Burrow, and you're getting 7.5, so it's all gravy here. So that's how you do. But you got to analyze the game. So what are you looking at? You're looking at the defense. Who's my quarterback and who's my coach? This is why I like the Niners, right? Best defense, quarterback's very good, coach is okay. He chokes a little bit, but he should be good enough. And then you look at Dallas, okay, defense, which one shows up? The one that gave up 34 to Philly, the one that gave up 26 to Washington, or the one that beat Tampa? I know my quarterback sucks, Prescott, going to throw interceptions. He did. And I know my coach sucks because he had Aaron Rodgers for 10 years and couldn't win shit. He wins one Super Bowl with the best quarterback. What you going to do with a second-rate quarterback? Now, again, through all my years, I can tell you Dak Prescott's a second-rate quarterback. You got these idiots telling you how good Trevor Lawrence is, how good Dak Prescott is, how good Tagovailoa is. And I argue with you guys all the time that, look at Tagovailoa now. Look at Lawrence. He's a superstar. Lawrence ain't no superstar. So I know how to read them, which also adds that I know how to pick them. And I think that's my biggest strength is that handicapper, picking the games, getting the locks, getting the spreads, getting the scores. I understand talent. I know what it looks like. I watched Joe Montana. I watched Phil Simms. I thought he sucked. Theismann was good till he got hurt. Montana was great. Staubach was great, but Danny White wasn't. Simms sucked. McMahon was great when he was healthy. And then you get into Troy Aikman, I didn't think was good, and Steve Young, I didn't think was good. And then you get to Brady, who I obviously is good. So again, you're spotting talent and you're betting on talent if you can find it. That's why I'm high on Rising and Hartman and Van Dyke and Thompson Robinson. I don't mind the guy on TCU, and I think Stetson Bennett. I would be drafting him very high. I don't know what he needs to do, man. He won 2 national titles, and a lot of it was him finding the receivers, this Bowers tight end. He might be the one guy that I draft in the first round as a tight end, and I make him a wide receiver or something, or I make him a flop. I make him a Deebo Samuel. He can run. He's fast. He's got great hands. He might be the exception of a tight end I take in the first round because he's really like a great wide receiver. He's like Kittle times 2. He's like twice as good as Kittle. This Brock Bowers of Georgia. So that's how I look at it. I mean, that's how I base it. And he's fine. He wins games for you. Do I ever coach football? Well, just the way I do it here. But no, I never coach football. I should be a GM. I've actually sent resumes to every NFL team about being their GM. And they laugh at me, and I laugh back at them going, well, good luck trying to get into the playoffs next year. I could get you there if you want, but they don't. The problem is it's like a quarterback. If he doesn't have experience, they're not smart enough to see it, right? So I can tell you Stetson Bennett of Georgia is going to be a good NFL quarterback. But because he hasn't, that's why they go to the Davis Mills and the third stringer on Washington when you go, why is this guy the quarterback? And Blaine Gabbert and stuff like that. And I say, wait a minute, this guy Trask is Florida, who's on Tampa Bay, is your quarterback. They don't need to replace Brady. They got the replacement, but they won't play him. And until you play him, then you realize he's a winner. And a lot of guys play well in the game and not in practice because they don't focus. Jack Morris of the Tigers was like that. You'd put him out there, he wasn't good. You'd put him in a game, and he was a superstar. And if the game was on the line, you couldn't hit him. That's what you got to read in players. But no, I never coached it, but I could spot talent, and I've been watching it since I was like 5 years old, which puts me into the 60s. And I watched Joe Namath and those guys. And then you saw Stabler coming. I never liked Bradshaw. He threw way too many interceptions. Staubach was good. Tarkenton, I thought, sucked. Greasy ran too much, but all he had to do was hand the ball off. And it was really a defensive game early on. And then Stabler was okay. And then where's the Dave Casper play? See, this is the part I don't get. The Dave Casper play is a play action pass at the goal line. When you're obviously going to run, you fake it to the halfback. Casper pretends to block, gets up, goes about 10 yards into the end zone. Nobody's with him because they're all playing the run, and he just lobs the pass. I watched it 50 times, and 50 times there was nobody within 10 yards of him. They never covered him. They all took the bite because he pretended to block. That play will work 100% of the time, and yet where is it? If I needed a touchdown, and if I need a 4th and 2 or a 2-point conversion play, you see every time they run, they can't get it. How many times on 4th down do they go for it and they run up the middle or run off to the side and they don't get it, right? How many times? You see it like 98 out of 100, they run into the line and they lose 2 yards. And I guarantee you every time they do that, the tight ends would be pretend to block, stroll out 5 yards, would be wide fucking open every single time. Where is that play? Did they not watch Raider football in the 70s, for Christ's sake? I mean, it's not that hard. I do once in a while see play action passes, and the guy's always wide open. But it's like the offensive coordinator. I saw that yesterday or over the weekend. I saw the tight end take the ball. I think it was Kansas City. The tight end comes in, takes the snap, and they push him, and he doesn't make it. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're going to fucking telegraph your play, and you wonder why it won't work. I mean, they know it's coming because you got two guys pushing. Since when is that pushing in football? What the fuck is that? Rugby? We're playing rugby or we're playing football here? I don't like the pushing. I don't think it should be in the game. I think it's stupid. I don't understand why you're changing the game. This whole instant replay thing should not be there. This whole thing with yesterday with Chase, it was a touchdown. The ref was 2 feet away, called it a touchdown. It's a touchdown. When you need the replay, fine. But to micro milliseconds, super slow motion, zoom in on it. Oh, the ball touched the ground. Oh, it moved 1/8 of an inch. It's not a catch. It's bullshit. That's not the intent of the instant replay. The instant replay is the intent when the ref calls him out of bounds, and he's not like in the Dallas game. The idiot receiver goes and he doesn't keep his foot down. Then he catches the ball, and the second foot goes out of bounds. Now, how the ref missed that, we don't know. But that's why you have instant replay going, wait a minute, no, his foot was up. That's not a catch. They blew it. That's the point of instant replay. And that all should be done in 30 seconds. Why do they go to 5 minutes of commercial for instant replay? And then they never show you the instant replay. All these plays at the goal line. If you notice, every time the guy goes for the touchdown, he's in, and they'll call him down at the half-yard line. Every time. The guy's in. The guy's clearly in. The guy is in. They called it a touchdown. Oh, no, he's down at the half-yard line. What the fuck is that? That's so ridiculous. That's the problem with football now, these push-it plays. Nobody runs the Casper play. So really you think scoring's up. It's not. Scoring's really down. There's a few teams that can score, and then too many of these running quarterbacks, they think that's it. So everybody, let's draft the Florida quarterback who sucks, but he can run. Well, good. What you going to do? It's 3rd and 10. He can't run. They're blitzing him. Now what you going to do? He can't throw. Good luck with the Florida quarterback. So we're going to pound whoever drafts him. We're going to really pound him, and we're going to be betting heavily. If they actually make him a starter, we're going to make a lot of money off of that. So it's like getting frustrated when I try to talk gold to people saying, go buy it. And I get frustrated. They don't want to listen, or they're in Bitcoin. And it's the same. So I just kind of ignore them now. And that's the same thing with this. If they want to draft the running quarterbacks and have another Lamar Jackson fiasco. Fine, we're just going to bet against you. And look at Jackson. The last 2 years, played about 6, 7 games. How many leads did he blow? Because he can't, because he can't throw, right? In the second half, the other team comes back and he loses. How many leads did he blow? So do you really want Lamar Jackson? And that's all I hear. Oh, Lamar Jackson's available. We'll give him, $50 million. Well, why? You're not going to win with him. He's not a good quarterback. He should be playing running back or receiver or punt returner. He's not a quarterback. So what the fuck are you watching that you think he's going to be the quarterback? And that's what gets me. So anyway, there you have it. So a perfect 4-0 in games this weekend. I called these games who was going to play who. I told you I'm teasing the dog. And then the only loser I had was the over in the Buffalo-Cincy game, which I still can't believe Buffalo only got 10. I knew Cincinnati would win. I thought 34-31. Cincy got 27 for me. Should have had 31 right on the nose if Chase gets the touchdown. But I'm not getting any help from Buffalo. I see they went for it on like the 16-yard line, but they were down, 17 points. So they probably should have kicked the field goal anyway, but I still would have been short. I needed that touchdown at the end of the game. But where were they the whole game? Man, if Cincy can hold them to 10, look out for Cincy. They got the best quarterback left in Burrow / Mahomes. With Mahomes being injured, Burrow's the best. He's better than Purdy, and he's obviously better than Hurts. You'd rather have Burrow than those. So, Nick, go buy your Burrow cards because he's gonna be your man. He's definitely getting in the Super Bowl. And I don't know. It'll be a great game, Frisco or Philly against Cincinnati. You're gonna have two great defenses trying to go up against Burrow with his great defense. So we'll have to really figure out that game. But see, that's the key, is figuring out the game. Defense, quarterback. So again, we're looking at Frisco a 16 defense against Philly a 20 defense. You're not going to get a lot of points in this game. So stop fucking around. It's an under bet. Now, somebody asked me, Dallas Frisco, if they thought it was an over game. And I said, are you kidding with these defenses? With a Frisco defense, you've got to go under. With an Iowa defense or a Georgia normally defense, or in this year, Illinois, Iowa State, Washington State, those were under games. You never went over. If they're playing, even if they're playing UCLA, you don't go over in the game. You might watch it. But I remember we had Oregon State against UCLA, and it was like 30-14. Over under was 60, and against that defense, they weren't scoring a lot of points. You score a lot on a weak defense. That's why we love weak defenses, and we bet against them, like Jacksonville. Or Kansas City is really a pretty weak defense. But when you get a strong defense, you don't fuck with them. You don't bet an over with the Georgia or Iowa State, Illinois. You don't bet over. They're either under or you watch. Or like Georgia, Ohio State, I wasn't really sure, so I took Georgia to win, which they won barely, but that's the beauty of the teaser. We had them even. Greg, how does Dak make that much money? Because he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and the way they negotiate contracts is any starting quarterback makes, $25-30 million. The problem is the teams aren't smart enough to realize he's not a start. He shouldn't be. He doesn't have the skill to be a starter. He's a backup, right? Cooper Rush is better than he is, the backup. Their offensive coordinator, my man, Kellen Moore, should start over Dak Prescott. I would rather have Kellen Moore out there than Dak Prescott. This is my point. So here comes Rising. He's much better than Prescott and Mills and all these guys. So the money's based on contracts, based on, he starts. It's really a communist socialist system. He's going to get paid what this guy gets paid. And if I was the owner, I'd go, well, wait a minute. He threw 17 interceptions. I'm not paying him Aaron Rodgers money or Burrow money or Mahomes money. He throws way too many interceptions. We're knocking him down. He's going to make Stafford money. He's going to get $15 million, or Davis Mills money. They would never pay Davis Mills 25. I would never pay Lamar Jackson 25. I wouldn't pay him 15. He's not worth it. I don't want a running quarterback because guess what? They're going to blitz me and he can't run. What's he going to do against? So let's say Baltimore was playing Philadelphia or San Francisco this week. What do you think he's going to do against these defenses? He ain't going to run. He can't throw. I give him 3 interceptions and he runs for 25 yards and they get beat by 30 points. So what is Lamar Jackson's value going to be against these type of teams? Nothing. Because I need Joe Burrow against these type of teams, somebody that can get me hit chase for a few scores. Lamar Jackson can't do that. The kid from Florida, Richardson, can't do that. Half these quarterbacks can't do it. That's why Mahomes is in the championship game every year, because he can throw to his receivers, because the defense then has to play the pass. But when you got a Lamar Jackson or a Jalen Hurts or any of these clowns, then you just put the pressure. What do you think Trevor Lawrence, he had trouble against K. What do you think Trevor Lawrence would do against San Francisco? 2 of 15 for 45 yards, 3 interceptions, and he would, run for 15 yards? Do you think Etienne would run against the Niners or Philly? He wouldn't. He'd get 10 yards, and Lawrence would be 3 of 20 with 3 interceptions for 25 yards and no touchdowns. That's what a Lawrence, a Tagliabue would do against these defenses. That's my whole point. That's what I get on you. Look at Josh Allen against Cincinnati yesterday. Who doesn't have? They have a good day. They're at 20. Are they equal to Philadelphia? Well, they're getting pretty damn close. They're not Frisco. What would Josh Allen do against these 2 defenses, Frisco and Philly? He wouldn't do anything. He got 10 points on Cincy. He ain't lighting up Philly and Frisco. That's the point. You need the Joe Burrow, the Montana, the Brady against these defenses. Look at the difference. Peyton Manning against the Legion of Boom, Seattle, got crushed. Brady was able to handle them because he could get rid of the ball in 2 seconds. He could read the blitz, and they shouldn't have won the game, but they won the game, right? That's the difference. That's why Brady's Brady and all these other losers I bitch at, because they're not capable of beating a defense like this. And that's what you have to do to win. You got Mahomes is going to have to beat the Cincy defense, which Josh Allen couldn't do shit against, which is why I bitch against Josh Allen, because he wants to run too much. And then, here's Philly and Frisco. Well, Mahomes ain't beating either of those 2 teams. He did beat Frisco in a similar defense, and he had Tyreek Hill, which he doesn't have now. He ain't doing it Valdez-Scantling or whoever, it's all Kelsey. Believe me, Philly and Frisco take Kelsey away, you won't even see him. And Cincinnati will do that also. So that's all it is, Mahomes and Kelsey, which is good enough to beat your Jacksonvilles and beat your San Diegos and Oaklands. But when you get in against these defenses, which is why you bet the defense is going to show up. The Niners were beautiful yesterday. All we needed Purdy to do was a little bit, have a McCaffrey run or a Mitchell run, get it down, get your turnovers from Prescott, and just shut them down. And they fucking just killed Dallas yesterday, as did Philly against the Giants. You didn't see Jones do shit, right? The running quarterback against these defense. This is why we bet the defense. This is why the Bears won in 85 and why I talk Montana against the 84 Bears. Montana had to beat the 84 fucking Bears, right? Now, I think in that game, Harbaugh didn't play, or McMahon, I don't think played. And I think they played, they might have played Harbaugh. But he had to beat the 84 Bears. That's why I say Montana is so good, because he beat the 84 Bears. He beat some of the Giant teams to get into the Super Bowls in the late 80s with Lawrence Taylor on it. That's why he's good. Who the fuck did Brady ever beat? He didn't beat the Ray Lewises, and he had trouble with Pittsburgh. He was 10 years he wasn't in the Super Bowl. Now he beats the shitty teams. Oh, he came back against Atlanta, a team with no defense, and he beat. Okay, give him credit for Seattle. He lost to Philly. In the beginning, he beat Philly, which didn't have much of a defense, and in Carolina. What the fuck was Carolina doing in the Super Bowl? So he hasn't really beaten. That's why I argue going Montana's better. He beat the 84 Bears, and if you know what the 84 and 85 Bears defense look like, it makes the San Francisco Philly defense look like crap. So just keep that in mind. That's why I make the comments I do. But I'm looking at the game differently than you guys are looking at it. I'm looking at the defense. I'm looking at the balanced offense. Can they run and pass? Can they slow the defense down with their balance? And both Philly and Frisco can. KC can't. They can't run, and Mahomes can't pass. And you got Joe Burrow and Chase, and they have Mixon. So Cincinnati's deadly right now. So that's what you're really looking at. And when I look at a game versus what you guys look at a game, we're looking at different games. You want to jump on Philly, against the Niners, you're out of your mind. What didn't you not watch the Niners crush Dallas? They got the 2 interceptions against Prescott. Should have been 3. But it's Hurts. It's Hurts really that superstar. He is injured. And Mahomes is injured. You got to take that into account. Burrow is not injured, and neither is Purdy. And Purdy handled this really strong Dallas defense yesterday, and he handled it fine. Didn't turn it over. Doesn't turn it over. In the second half, he was very comfortable hitting Kittle and Samuel and all these guys on these 15, 20-yard crossing patterns. Got the touchdowns, got the win. He won the game. So I don't know why anybody is thinking, well, Purdy's going to have a bad game. Everybody has a bad game, and Purdy might not have a great game against this defense, but he did against Dallas's defense. That's my point. So he'll be good. And how good a game's Hurts going to have against this defense? He ain't gonna be roses either. So anyway, the worst defense there is KC. That's why I like Cincinnati. So that's what you have with football. That's what you're looking for. You have to dissect the game, and you're looking defense. You're looking balanced offense. You're looking injuries, the receiver, which injuries, like Cincinnati, it wasn't Burrow and Chase, so I didn't care that a few linemen got hurt because I'm smart enough to realize they got backup linemen, and you're not going to have to worry about that. That's really the key to it. So we got the under in the Frisco game. We got Cincinnati getting points. I'm betting that right now because I don't want to get fucked with since he's going to be favorite, I think, because Mahomes with the high ankle sprain, he ain't walking today. I guarantee you that. He'll be lucky to walk by Sunday, but I'm sure you're going to play. He'll, as Bobby said, he'll take the shot. But that's all I see. So we'll go from there. Now, let's switch gears to gold if you are ready for that. So I went into Google, and I just like looking at the highlights. Actually, there's a gold thing. Tesla's doing a price war with the other electric car companies because they won't fucking sell, and he's losing his inventory. So it says Tesla can slash its prices because its cars are so cheap to build. Why would the cars be cheap to build? Let's see. So we're not going to get into that. Let's see what gold price today is. Down 5, 1939, but it's still pretty fucking healthy. It's 1922. Now look at the 10 o'clock chart as I show you. Look what happened at 10 o'clock. It goes from It's so beautiful. It goes from 1927 to 1913 at 10 o'clock, and then it starts going up. So if you just wait for the 10 o'clock drop, so you wait for this price here, and then as it starts going up, now you jump on it. So you could have bought it at 1914. It goes all the way to 1927. So what? This is like 4 days in a row. I've shown you this chart. Because London fixes the price at 10 o'clock, it always goes down, or 99 days out of 100, then it goes up. And this is the same with every stock, every gold stock, Newmont Mining or any of them, they all do the same thing. They hit this drop at 10. It's all fixed. This is what I warn you about. And it's not real, it's derivatives. So I was busy today. So I'm trying to look for gold buying because I'm interested in demand. And I know all the central banks are buying it and all the people are buying it. So then I got 5 ways to invest in gold. And these guys are so full of shit. To make a profit, buyers of physical gold are wholly relying on the commodities price rising. God, these people are so stupid. Nowhere do they talk about the fixed derivative markets. Here's the risk. The biggest risk is that someone can physically take the gold from you. Yeah, that's really going to happen if you don't keep your holdings protected. The second biggest risk occurs if you need to sell your gold. It can be difficult to receive the full market value. No, you walk to the gold store and you're going to get spot, or you go on eBay. Well, that's not hard. Gold. So there's 5 ways. So the second way is gold futures are a good way to speculate on the price of gold. And you can even take physical delivery of gold if you want it. So they're talking about derivatives. What a useless article. Risk. The leverage for investors in futures, is risky. Well, duh. The next one is ETFs that own gold. There's no ETFs that own gold. If you own an ETF, you don't own gold. You're getting fucked. You're never going to get your physical. When physical goes up, you're not making any money. You're fucked in ETFs. 3 of the largest ETFs. Physical gold shares. The goal of ETFs such as these is to match the price performance of gold minus the ETFs, which is where you get fucked, annual expense ratio. The expense ratios on the funds above are only whatever percentage. The other big benefit to owning an ETF over bullion is that it's more readily exchangeable for cash at the market, like a stock. They're so fucking stupid. Gold ETFs are more liquid than physical gold. Who is writing this article should be fired. So this is why you get confused if you don't hear what I'm teaching you. So you'll think I'll go into ETFs. It's safer than physical. I can trade them from the comfort of my own home. I don't have to worry about my gold getting stolen. Oh my God. I mean, the odds on your gold getting stolen are very slim, especially if you put it in the freezer. The other thing is that you don't have any gold. So when you try to get physical gold, because there's going to be physical and derivative paper, and we know the paper gold is not going anywhere, and the physical is about to go through the roof because of the Russians and the BRICS countries. The ETF isn't going anywhere. The physical gold is. There is no gold left in the ETF. So if you said, I need the gold, I need my physical, they won't have any for you. And if you think the ETFs are going up in price, you're out of your fucking mind. Only thing that protects you is gold, because the ETFs are priced in paper dollar, which you don't want to be in fiat currency. The risk, ETFs give you exposure to the price of gold. So if it rises or falls, the fund should perform similarly. Again, minus the cost of the fund, which I'm sure is then they talk about stocks, which we don't care. ETFs that own mining stocks, so we don't care. So I was just looking at that, laughing my ass off, going, they talk you, how do you buy gold? And they give you these things, which are not. But basically my question, which I can't get an answer to, is the physical gold market. And it still says the U.S. has 8,000 tons and is the leader. We all know China's got 40,000 and Russia's got 20,000. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about there. But you can never get an answer. You can't get the real price. So I went into YouTube to look at a few videos, which, as you know, I do. So I watched these two. So what? Don't buy gold and silver. It's overbought. So I went into this video, and you're gonna love this. For your net, your assets, 2023 is going to be very, very. Get gold down into the 50. Okay, so let's look at comments. Here's my comment to this guy. And I'll read it, but I'll leave it up. You're an idiot. Inflation kills the US dollar and all fiat currencies. Stop lying on YouTube, loser. This is what I tell these guys because it really pisses me off. They're telling you the dollar will not go down, that gold is going to go down because they're talking derivative gold. They're not talking physical gold. Then here's somebody else. Have to agree this guy is delusional. So it's good to see some people here. This guy is delusional. The dollar's on the way out. This guy needs to educate himself just a little bit more. I'm not as polite as that. I'm basically telling him to go fuck himself. You're an idiot. Inflation kills the US dollar and all fiat currencies. Stop lying on YouTube. See, the problem is a guy like this who says gold's going to go down is interfering with people that don't know, and they think, oh, fuck, it's going to go down. I won't buy it. So he's part of the problem. He's obviously part of the plan. He's obviously a Keynesian communist. He doesn't understand physical from derivative. He doesn't understand BRICS, and he doesn't understand inflation. Get the fuck off my YouTube because you're interfering with my people. Then the second one is this one, major resistance, gold and silver. This is terrifying for the gold market. So I go there and I go, what's this fucker saying? Back to your first couple. So what do I say? My answer is, you're talking paper gold, idiot. There's a physical market. We're talking about, oh my God, why are you doing these videos when you're clueless? The Teaser King. And you can read what I said. As you know, I don't lie, and I don't like when people scare people. And that's exactly what he's doing by saying this is terrifying for the gold market. It's going to go down because the dollar's going to go up. And I'm thinking, you don't understand anything. First of all, this is physical gold is not going down. It's going up because of BRICS. It's going up because of inflation. Because if you understand what inflation is, the purchasing power, the value drops, which makes everything go up in value because it takes more dollars to buy it. So the first fundamental idea he doesn't even get, right? That it's inflation hurts the dollar. Then he's saying gold's going to go down based on what? Derivatives, which aren't real. It's price fixed. The physical goes up. So why is he doing a YouTube and he's lying to everybody, right? So right off the bat, he's saying this is terrifying for gold market. E.B. Tucker. So E.B. Tucker, we don't want to listen to. We want to poo-poo him. We want to say, go fuck yourself to E.B. Tucker. Go over and sell price prediction. So he's entitled to his, it's not even an opinion. It's not accurate. We don't know what the fuck the guy's doing. Why is he on here to get a name as a contrarian? I'm the contrarian because I say what I believe. I'm honest, I'm truthful, and I'm saying this is what's going to happen. Just like I told you, Frisco would beat Dallas. and Cincinnati would beat Buffalo. I am honest with backup reasons. That's the only person you should be trusting. You cannot trust these idiots if you don't know them just because they have a video on there that says gold's going to go down. It's derivatives, which we don't care about. It's not real gold, and you don't know it's going down. The inflation pumps up gold. That's what it does 100% of the time. The inflation's not going anywhere because they're raising interest rates a little bit. So that's what you need to know. So that's what's going on. Russia, who knows what's going on there? They're being attacked. It's all over the place. The Ukraine is making good offensive strides, but I guarantee you they're going to blame the Russian war for the inflation. The euro is crashing, so we will see what happens next. I assume there'll be a new euro. Now, they want to have these digital currencies, which they can have just like crypto, but they'll also have dollars. So let's wait and see. I will Google or YouTube what's going on with the dollars. If there's an announcement when the new euro is coming out and the new yen and there's already a new yuan ruble backed by gold coming out. There's already a new petrodollar, the yuan, the Chinese dollar. Keep in mind, there'll never be a war, U.S. and China, because they need us to buy the goods, and we have the ships to stop the shipping lane, so they won't have any oil, and they'll be dead in a month. So they can never go to war with us. I doubt Russia will nuke us because we're too valuable to nuke. We've got all the money. We don't have all the gold. They have the gold, but if they want to sell things, like China wants to sell to us, well, if they nuke us, you killed, we got all this we can't sell. I just don't see it would be maybe like on 24 when they did a nuke and it was, 5 square miles and that was it, not the whole fucking LA. So I don't see that. I think anybody that threatens the nuke obviously isn't going to nuke because he wouldn't threaten it. He would just nuke you. So that's what I see. So gold, I expect to jump again soon. We know why. BRICS countries, the gold standard to back the dollar. The U.S. dollar, nobody wants. She's the fat, ugly woman that nobody wants. We're at a bar. We see a fat, ugly woman. We don't want her. We see a hot, young girl. We want her. So that's the dollars now become a fat, ugly woman. Nobody wants her. It'll go out to zero, and then they have to come out with a new 20-year-old, and that's got to be backed by gold, or you won't have anything. Possibly, so it's dying. It's dying. The doctor gives you got 3 months to live. That's basically the dollar right now. It's going out. It's got a few months to live. The West is going to fight like hell because they don't want it to go out, but it will. They can't control it, and they don't want gold to go up, and they'll fight that. But again, so that's really what's holding it back is J.P. Morgan, who has 300 tons of gold, and the U.S. doesn't have any, fighting to keep the gold price down, to keep you in the dollar, but nobody wants it. So it's going to blow. There's nothing you can do. You can want it to not go up. You can want the dollar, but you can't keep the dollar if you're inflating the way you are. This whole bullshit, it's all a Madoff. There was this lady, I read about her article today, where she scammed JP Morgan by making up fake records. So she sells her company. It was to help students with student loans. I read it on Google. So some lady gets, JP Morgan buys the business. We don't know why. And it was all phony. All the customers were phony. They were all made up. They got made off. The one company that made off everybody, JP Morgan, got made off. I loved it. And so they're suing her for false records, and she's suing them back. I mean, you can only trust people like me who are good-hearted, who are trying to teach you. How many other handicappers teach you how to handicap? It goes back to economics. I want to teach you how to fish so you can fish for a lifetime than giving you a fish and you can eat for the day, but then what do you do tomorrow? So I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm teaching you how to pick the games and how to play gold and how to play the stock market and what is inflation. And I'm teaching you all this. So you find another guy, another handicapper that's going to teach you how to pick football games. And I doubt there is, because they don't know how to pick games. When you got guys picking Dallas yesterday, it just shows you to me, when I hear a YouTube guy say gold's going down and he's talking derivative, I know he doesn't know what he's talking about. They don't know what inflation is if they say it's price increases. So as soon as I hear those words out of the mouth, I immediately go, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? I can catch that in about 10 words. I know if he's talking derivative or physical, and if he understands that inflation is the devaluation of the dollar, or he thinks its price is going up. So I catch that right away. When a guy picks Dallas yesterday against the Niners, they don't understand Dak Prescott. They don't understand Purdy. They don't understand the Niner defense. When they pick Buffalo over Cincinnati, they don't understand Joe Burrow. They don't understand the Cincy defense or the Buffalo defense. They don't know what they're talking about. So I bet if you could find 15 handicappers that are willing to even teach you how to handicap, you won't find anybody but me who could actually explain it to you, teach it to you. Now that's critical. That's what you need to do, is you need to learn, you need to understand, and find people like me that can teach you computers or medicine or other things, even, poker, whatever you want to learn, cars. They've got to be able to explain why. That's why when somebody gives me a pick, I go, why do you like it? Right? Some guy wanted Jacksonville in the points, or he wanted the Giants. Some guy wanted the Giants in 18. I go, what are you, crazy? You can't take the Giants in this situation. You're either taking Philly or nothing. And I tried to talk him into go to fucking Cincinnati and San Francisco. Those are your cream of the crops. What are you dicking around with the Giants for? And you want to bet on Daniel Jones. So I try to talk him out of it. But that's really what you're looking for, is somebody who can explain why. So if you come at me with a pick, I don't really care what your pick is, because I'm not really interested in hearing what you think's going to happen, because I don't know who you are, and I don't know your background, and I don't know if you know how to pick or not. And that's not what this class is about. This class is about me teaching you how to pick. Now you can go like that, but if you say, well, I like Philly Frisco, I like X and Y, I'm going to say why. So I'm giving you under and Cincy. So if you come back with Kansas City, I'm going to say, why would you like Kansas City when Cincy's the better team? So you better have a good explanation other than, well, I just like them. I have a feel. Well, then you're wasting everybody's time. That's why I kind of get irritated. I don't want to hear that. So that's what we're like. So if you can find somebody who can teach, that's who you want to listen to. So that's why I get out of shape on these YouTube guys when they're sitting there. Gold's going to go down, silver's going to go down. There's no way, because the demand's too high. So you got to understand supply demand, first of all. You got to understand inflation. There's no way either of those goes down. Now, it doesn't happen in 5. It's not like a game where they played Sunday night, so by in a few hours you're going to have the Frisco's going to beat Dallas. It's Sunday night, and then when the game's over, Frisco beat Dallas. So you're going to get that because you know the time of the game. But what you don't know is like when's gold going up, but we know it's going up. So it's just you got to be patient with it. But it gives us opportunity to buy more because JP Morgan's fixing it, and so we can keep betting on gold by buying more and buying more silver, because we know it's being price fixed. We know it's not the real price, and we know we just need to be a little bit more patient, and we'll be okay, because we understand fundamentally it's going up because of inflation, and it's going up because of demand. So supply demand figure. So we understand that, and we understand it's physical what we want, not the derivative paper that's price fixed. So if you're watching YouTube and you see these idiots talk about derivatives, they don't know what they're talking about. And you need to just not listen to them and do what I did and say, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. because I understand they're full of shit, but you might not. You might go, "Oh, professor, Joe Blow said the gold's going to go down. Now, what do I think?" See, because you don't know well enough, you might listen to him, and it's the wrong guy to listen to. That's what I'm trying to prevent you from doing, is making mistakes because you listen to people, not because you made up your own mind. I want you to make up your own mind, and I'm giving you how to make up your mind, especially football and gold and stuff like that. That's the key to it. Austrian economics, supply, demand, the market. If the demand is here and the price is here, the price is going to go up. Then your trigger is what's demand, what's price. That's what you should be thinking. So when I talk about the electric car market, the supply is here, but the demand's here. The price is up here, but the demand's here. So it has to go down. And on all the cars, I'm telling you, is get out of, if you're in stocks with cars, get the fuck out. And you don't want to buy them, and you don't want to buy electric and the whole thing. I'm like explaining there's no demand. So even if you do buy one, you'll never be able to sell it. I can sell my Camry for 23, 24,000, but I can't. There's going to be demand for my car. It's gas powered. There's not going to be. So if I were to buy a Tesla, there wouldn't be any demand. I would never be able to sell it. And now he's lowering his prices because he can't sell them. And then he's trying to say he gets them cheap. How does he get them cheap? You got steel, you got batteries, you got everything in the car. What the fuck you mean it doesn't cost you anything? So I can lower my price. No, that just means you're way too expensive and there's no market. That's what he's really saying. Well, I can't sell them at 50,000. I got to lower it to 30,000 because there's no market for it. And even the governments, what are they doing? We'll give you $7,000 off if you buy an electric car. Oh, fuck you. I don't want an electric car. So there's things like that you need to understand. So basically that's what I'm trying to do, is get you to understand what's going on. So again, I try to prove it to you with football. Take Frisco wins. Okay, geez, he must know what he's doing. He didn't get lucky. He gave you the reasons, and then the game did what he said would do. So that's what I try to do. Anyway, what else? What else we got? Where's Bobby and Phil today? Nick, all the high roll. Where's all the high rollers? I was watching Money Heist in Spanish with English subtitles just for a change of pace. And it's a lot different because they actually say things in Spanish differently than they say it in English. So there's a lot of misinterpretations in English that are really in Spanish. So when I'm watching it now, I got to read it, which is a pain in the ass, but it's like a whole different show. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I watched and I don't watch the whole first bank robbery. I watched the beginning, then I jumped to when Tokyo gets freed, and then I watched the last couple episodes. And then it takes me to the beginning of the second one, and then I jump to season 5. I don't need to see all of it. It's too long because I've seen it too many times, but that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, I mean, that's what's going on with that. What else? We got snow here. Supposed to get warmer. We'll see. Anyway, be careful with, obviously you can't trust the government. Be careful. The inflation's not going anywhere. So if they say year over year inflation's down, it probably is, but that doesn't mean they stop printing. And that's not really what you look at for inflation. It's the value of the dollar dropping. And you measure it by the prices is the way you measure it, but not necessarily, because you could have a lot of inflation but not be shown in the prices. But it will be there, and then all of a sudden the shit hits the fan. Now, hyperinflation is different. As I said, that's the expectation that the price is going to go up. So there's this mass frenzy of everybody running to Kroger's to buy tuna fish and Cheerios. So you have something to eat for the next month or two. I don't know what's going to happen because, okay, I got a bunch of steaks and chicken and roasts and hamburgers and veggies. Okay, so maybe I can live if I really eat it slow and I just take a little piece of roast and eat a little bit every day. What do I got? 6 weeks? And then what do I do? Where do I get food? So again, I'll have to find a farm and take my silver and say, here you go. Uh, but I mean, how do they let everybody die? How do they not bring in food? So we all got to be farmers to survive? The government's supposed to be protecting us because we voted in these people. So that's going to be a real scary a problem if it comes true. But a lot of what they say is scare tactics. A lot of it is trial balloon, like the digital dollar. It's not real. Bitcoin, it's not money. It's not gold. It's really nothing, and it's going to zero. And all I can say is get out of it and buy your gold. I know Phil does that. Because there's really nothing there to back it that it has a value. So you're lucky you have a value, but I would get out of it before you don't have a value. The government doesn't want it, so you can't fight the government. Gold, you can kind of fight the government because it's worldwide, right? Everybody wants gold, and the demand's huge. So, and I can hold it, right? I can have it in my hand, and you can't touch it. So from that standpoint, that's what I look at. All right, no Bobby today. I came on a little bit early just because I got up and I was like, I wanted to talk about the football games because it was fresh and I had done well and everything else. So again, Philly Frisco under and Cincinnati as a dog, unbelievable against Kansas City. That's what I like. Though it'll eventually be, I think, Cincinnati -3, and I think the over/under goes down to 43 with the Eagles and the Niners. I had to laugh. Jimmy Johnson thought that the game was going to be high scoring yesterday, and I just kind of shook my head going, you've got to pay attention to the defense. I think I've stumbled on to the key to betting football, which is you just jump on the best defenses and you bet against the weak defenses. And you've always tried to analyze, and that was part of it, but now it's on the forefront. That's really the key is look at the Philly Frisco defenses. We're betting it under. And that's as simple as that. And look at Cincinnati's defense and Kansas City's defense, and it's a Cincinnati bet. And that's as simple as you can get because a good defense will stop you. Look at Baltimore when they had Ray Lewis and Reed. They got into the Super Bowl against the Giants. It was 20-0. They couldn't move on them. They beat Brady. When you get that strong defense, there's nothing the offense can do. You can't do anything. You're fucked. And that's basically the way to look at it. So, there's no way the Niners – I never once thought the Niners-Dallas was over. I actually liked it under at 46, but I obviously like Frisco – being only 3.5, a whole lot better. But that's why you make your own lines because you get polluted with their line. And what do? You go, well, I should do this and that so I can get a better line, or I should play the money line. Well, you should know who's going to win by your analysis unless you get a Frisco-Philly game where you don't know who's going to win. Then you take the dog, but then when you see the defenses, you go under. So that's really what you need to look at. And, if you can do that, then you've moved up to the master's class number 2, which we haven't started yet, but that's really where you're headed to. So be very careful there. Be smart. Don't just listen to anybody. You really shouldn't trust anybody until they prove you can trust them. I believe I proved you can trust me. At least I hope so. So therefore, if I'm on, you go, yeah, okay, it's Professor. He knows what he's doing. But a lot of these guys, until you get the explanation of the why, like Peter Schiff, I would never trust him, or this Rickards guy, or half these idiots. I showed you the guy to trust, and I showed you the 2 guys not to trust today. But the English guy with balding with glasses, he's who you trust. So that's my point. You need to understand that, and that's what you go by. So it's the best thing in life, especially with women, especially at poker Poker's like, well, both poker and women are the same. It's does the story make sense? Can I trust them? Beautiful girl comes up to me, doesn't really know me. I can read her, but I don't know the story. And she wants $100. Well, sorry, you're not getting it. I need to know more information. Just like in poker, like I said, there was a Russian girl and she'd bluff a lot. So she'd bet a lot of money and was bluffing. Then she'd hit a full house and she'd check. So she's telling me, she's talking to me. If I bet a lot, I'm bluffing. If I check, I probably have a full house. So she was telling me subconsciously what she had by the way she bet. I caught that very quickly. So when I got the check from her, I got the fuck out unless I flopped the nuts. I was not going to fuck with her. I was certainly not going to bet into her unless I had the goods. Then I would trap her and make a kind of a $50 bet. And she'd come over the top. Aha, I got the hand. And I'd go, aha, I got the better hand. That's how you beat these people. But you've got to know that, right? So you got to know, is the pretty girl coming up to you bluffing, or does she have a hand, or what's her motive? And at the poker table, what is he making the bet for? Why is he making the bet? Does he make the bet all the time? Nobody gets aces or kings or ace king every hand. So if he's betting every hand, he probably doesn't have most of them. Although I do get on heaters. I got on one heater. I bet you I played 25 hands and I got something strong on 20 of them. It was amazing. It was like every hand, aces, kings, ace, king, ace, queen, pair of nines, pair of sevens. Every hand I was in, I was raising and everybody was folding on me. And it was just like, and I didn't bluff once. I kept getting hands. And that's what, but that's unusual. But mostly, most people will check to see a flop on an 8-9 of diamonds or something, or on ace king they might, or king jack or pair of sixes. They might want to see the flop to get I hit the set. That's to me how most people, they're probably more conservative. They want to get the hand before they make the move. A couple guys will bet it, but they're not going to get pocket nines or ace king every hand. And that's what you do. So you let them talk to you with their bets to see what they do. Just like the girl, okay, what do you really want? You want my money, or what do you really want? Or you just attracted to me, or what? And are you married? Like the girl at Alabama, I couldn't figure out. She's a pretty girl. She doesn't have a wedding ring on. I smile at her. She smiles back. We talk a little, but she's always kind of vague and she's always kind of strange. I didn't know if she didn't like guys. She didn't like older guys. She didn't like guys from Detroit. Then I find out she's from Cincinnati. So I figure, oh, maybe that. So I have to bet as a way of really trying to get more information out of her. And she freaks out, but she never really would disclose her tells. She never would say, I like you, or I don't like you, or leave me alone, or not. She would never say that. So it left me with trying to figure it out with the girl. What hand are you playing here? Do you want me to talk to you, or do you not want me to talk to you? And when I talk to you, sometimes you smile, sometimes you don't. You're a very, very confusing girl. So that was what my problem was. So the bet of the 100 on Cincinnati was kind of an icebreaker to really figure out, to get information. That's why I did it with the girl. And then she runs and tells HR, you're like, what the fuck is that all about? You're not getting information from me that you should be getting. What the fuck are you doing? So that's the problem with women. They're very weak at the information they give out. I think the biggest pet peeve I hate about women is they'll say, well, I don't want to hurt you. So you ask them out and they go, well, I got a boyfriend, and they're really lying. And well, I didn't want to hurt you. So lying to me is not a way of hurting me, right? That's even better. But I only ask you out because I'm reading your tells that you would like to spend time with me. You're smiling at me. We're having a good conversation. Hey, you want to go to dinner? is based on reading what you're telling me, right? So the whole thing's the read, just like poker, kind of what we get in football. We're reading Cincinnati, Kansas City. So that's what's true about most life. We're reading guys on YouTube that they're freaking idiots because they're talking derivative gold, not physical. You're reading me, but I'm giving you good explanation. And then, so everything in life's about reading. Poker or girls or just gambling or casino, whatever it is, you're reading your boss, you're reading the interview. I have to give you this little tidbit. So I'm applying for jobs, and one job, it's on Indeed, and it says, why do you want to work here or something? And I said, swear to God, well, sorry about that. But the Chaldeans say that, and it pisses me off because then I go, oh, so if you don't swear to God, you're lying to me? So I don't know why I said that because I never say that. Anyway, so I get in and it says, why do you want to work here? And I say, for the money. And I was going to say, well, why does anybody work anywhere? For the money. Why do you play poker? Why do you bet football? For the money. So it was like, for the money. That's why I'm applying for work. I want to make money. I could have said to buy gold, which would have been a better answer, I think, so I could make money to buy gold. But I said that I had to laugh. I even laughed myself when I said that comment. But that's really what we're all about, is reading people. You're really reading honesty. Are the person being honest with me? Can I trust them? That's why if you ask a girl too quickly, she can't read you. So she's uncomfortable more than a guy, right? The girl will be like, I don't know you well enough. She can't read you. That's what she's saying. So therefore that. Now you're trying to read the girl. What do you like? And where do you want to go? And what do you want to do? It's all reads, right? What does she want? And that's what you're going. But most girls are so insecure and shy. You can't. You got to be with them a few times to read them. That's the beauty of like prostitutes is here's some money, and now we both know what we want. There's no reading involved. Here's the money. Let's have sex, and that's how it should be. Like the Russian girl who says, "I sell sex." It was right out there. There was nothing I needed to read. She was smiling at me, but that's what she did. But she told me, I sell sex. And then it was up to me. There was no reading involved. It was a pleasure. We don't want to read the girl and, oh, well, I don't want to have sex with you. I just want to smile at you. And, oh my God, I want to get the money without having the sex. So that's the beauty of the Russian girls. They're very upfront. If you give them money, you they'll take care of you. But they're all nice girls. They're not like the American girls who want the money, don't want to give you the sex, and are very, very psychotic, most of them. So that's what you have. But that's really what you're doing, is reading people at poker, women, at work. The whole thing is the read, right? I'm reading this, I'm reading that. To try to figure them out. Can I approach them? Can I ask them out? Should I not? Should I run? Who is this person? And you're trying to figure out. So you make some dumbass comment to try to get it. Oh, how about a bet on the Super Bowl? To try to really dig into them, going, look, I know you're from Cincinnati. What are we doing? And she comes back with, he propositioned sex. You're like, no, I didn't. I never brought up the word. What the fuck are you talking about? And that's really the problem, is you're not expecting that answer out of that read, right? You're expecting, when you chat with a girl for 3 months, she doesn't run to HR saying he propositioned sex with me because he offered me money on a football bet that he never brought up sex, but I'm assuming it. So again, you can't read it because you don't know what the fuck the girl's thinking, because you can't get a tell on her. Normally, if you can't get a tell on a person, you just walk away. It's not worth it, because you should be able to get a tell relatively quickly. Then you kind of just do your own thing and let her come to you and give you a tell that way. But it's all about tells, and you got to read what it is that you're looking for. And, how much do I like the girl or the person, and try to go from there. And what do you want, basically? So anyway, that's it. So when you're playing poker, you're looking for clues of what they're holding. And the clues normally come from the bets. If they bet a lot or not, if they bet big and then check, well, that doesn't make sense. Why are you checking now? Oh, because you want me to come in. You've got a hand. So all I can say is most of the all-ins, I'd say 95% of an all-in bet are bluffs because they don't want you to call unless it's like a $20 all-in. So if the flop comes and the guy's got $25 left and he goes all in, it's not a bluff because he's going all in and that's it. He might not have a super strong hand, but he might have ace king or he might have hit a pair of queens or something. That's not a bluff. But when he puts you all in for 300, the first question I do is I look him in the eyes and go, "Oh, so you want me to fold?" And see how he reacts to it. If he looks up at the TV, if he takes a drink, if he looks away from you, he is not bluffing. So you can ask that question, look for that answer. And if he doesn't answer you, but looks up at the TV, he just told you he's not bluffing. So for some reason, he thinks if he goes all in, you'll think it's a bluff. But I would think most of the time the all-ins are bluffs because they don't want to call. I mean, if I have four aces, why would I go all in? I'm going to bet like $100 and I'd rather get 100 because you're thinking, well, if he had a great hand, he'd go all in. So he must not. There was one hand I get four of a kind and the guy goes and I get a bet and on the flop, and then on the turn, I get an all in and an all in, and it comes to me. So I go all in. I didn't make one bet, and I'm all in, and I got quads. So, life's good when that happens. But I'm just saying, if it's check, you don't go all in because unless you're bluffing, because you wanna. I'd rather win 100 than everybody folds on me because I finally got the hand that I waited an hour and a half for. So that's very important to understand. So again, you're reading women, you're reading people for smiles, or are they ignoring me? The guy at poker that ignored me, I read as an asshole and I got up. Some of the lifeguards I read, they talk to you and smile at you. They like you. They don't talk to you. They don't make eye contact. I just ignore. And then I ignore them from then on. So you don't get a lot of chances with me. I spot you. I'm very quick at analyzing, and I go, well, I'm just wasting my time. They're not interested. That's kind of how I look at it. So I'm not mean, but I'm just not interested. But my Ukrainian, my Russian girlfriends, they're very nice, very loving. We get along great. So there's really no play there. They're not asking me to buy them a house or buy them a car. My Romanian one who's pregnant, she doesn't ask for anything. Once in a while, she needs $100, but very rarely. And like now, she knows I'm not working. She's not asking me for money. She knows she probably needs it, but she knows I'm not working, so she won't ask it. That's how you know that those are good people because that's what you want. You want to be there for people, and that's critical of that. So that's what you're trying to do. Anyway. It's been 2 hours. I don't see anybody on, but I'm not sure if that's working. Any other questions or comments? I will give you a 5-minute warning. We will go from there. So anyway, a very big weekend. Hit 3 locks, lost 1. The Niners, very proud of the Niners Cincinnati lock because everybody's taking the Cowboys and Buffalo and all the injuries to Cincy. And again, they're all missing the point, which is Joe Burrow is what you bet on. And the Niners, Purdy's not going to collapse. And Purdy's very good. And Prescott's the trouble and got you the 2 interceptions we looked at. So again, that's what we look at, or I look at when I'm trying to teach you to look at. Anyway, so I'm going to go post Sunday's games and we'll talk about it more. Gold, it's coming up. soon. We got to wait for it, but we know it's the right play. We know that inflation is high. We know the value is being kept down and cannot stay manipulated. We know BRICS wants gold to go up and are coming out with a gold-backed currency soon. And we all know that's happening. We know the West is going to try to keep it down because they don't have gold, and the East has a lot of gold. So do we trust the Russian and Chinese mafia to get the price up? Absolutely. Um, so that's what's going on. Oh, no, I got viewers. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. It'll say 0, and then now I got 3. So that's good. And I know it's interchangeable. I'll get people. They'll come in and go. Any questions, comments, any subject you want to talk about, please chat it in. So we've talked about women, poker, gold, football. Anything else? So we hit our games: Kansas City, Philly, Cincinnati, and the Niners. On the weekend, we looked at the upcoming game. We like the Niners, Philly under, and we like Cincinnati as a dog to Kansas City. How the fuck they're a dog is unbelievable. So we're going to take advantage of the bad lines. But Philly Frisco should be a hell of a game, but I think it's going to be low scoring with these defenses. If you are going to bet it, the game itself, I think it's take the Niners an 8.5. I think you tease the dog in the game because you can't give me a winner, Philly and the Niners. They're both strong. Is Hurts better than – the question really is Hurts better than Purdy, and I don't think so. Hurts can run, but he's still injured. And you got the Niners with all this speed, and they're going to gear up to stopping Hurts. I do have to check the history. Let's see if they played. I think it was a very low-scoring game. Let's see. From what I can see, so Philly Frisco, it's still 2.5. Yeah, the history. So they played in 2021 or last year with 17-11 Frisco. But you don't know. I mean, Purdy's there, and then Hurts playing the game. I don't see details. So you really can't go back much further, but the injuries aren't in yet. So that's all you get. So that really doesn't help us much. I think what helps us more is if we look at Philadelphia. Let's look at Philly against defensive teams. So they beat the Giants. New Orleans, a 20-10 game. Dallas, where was this defense? 40-34 against the Bears, 25-20. Who doesn't have a good defense? They beat the Giants, 48-22. They beat Tennessee 35-10, which is – Tennessee is – well, they were injured. They beat Green Bay, not a defensive team. Indy 17-16, and I don't think Indy's a defensive team. Washington, they actually lost to Washington 32-21. How does that happen? They beat Houston 29-17. Pitt. Now, Pitt's probably the comparable to Frisco defensively, 35-13. They play a 48 there. The first Dallas game, 26-17. Arizona, now that's not a defensive team. Washington, 24-8. Minnesota, not a defensive team. They kill. That was the first game was Detroit, 38-35. So really, you're not – they score in the 20s a lot, 35 on Pitt. Where's that Jacksonville game? Yeah, 29-21. I had the under a 51, and they hit a 50 with all the turnovers. So it's really hard to say. I guess Pitt's the best defense was a 48. Washington, a decent. Indy, 17-16. Green Bay didn't have a defense. Tennessee, 35-10, a 45. New Orleans 20-10. The Giants 22-16, and then that was week 18, and then yesterday was a 45. So, it's hard to really read that. Let's look at the Niners against teams like Philly with their running quarterback, if we can get anything on that. So the Niners against somewhat of a running quarterback. Seattle, does Geno Smith run? I don't think. Arizona, but I don't think Kyler Murray played. Oakland, 37-34. Washington doesn't run. Seattle, 21-13. They're pretty explosive. Tampa Bay with Brady doesn't run. Miami doesn't run. New Orleans, 13-0. Arizona, 38-10, probably with Murray. San Diego, 22-16. The Rams, 31-14. KC, they lost 44-23. So they did have a problem with Mahomes, but that's not Hurts. Hurts might be more like Atlanta, Mariota, and Atlanta beat them 28-14. The Rams, 24-9. Denver with Russell Wilson, they actually lost to Denver 11-10. They beat Seattle 27-7 with that. Fields wasn't running. That's it. So we really don't have the closest thing to Hurts. Probably maybe Arizona with Kyler Murray. They beat him 38-10. San Diego, maybe with Herbert, they beat him 22-16. And Atlanta with Mariota, they lost 28-14. So still pretty low scoring games. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Anyway, that's about as best I can do breaking the game down. So we shall see. That's about it then. If anybody has questions or comments, please ask. Feel free. It's the point of this, being live. But I think that's about it. Off to the pool later. It snowed here the other day, but not yesterday. It was kind of in the 30s here, so it was pretty mild. And that's about it. So good luck on the football. We'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more with injury news and stuff. And so it was a great day, 4-0 in the picking the games this weekend, 3-1 on the locks, only losing Buffalo, Cincinnati over, but the game I picked Cincinnati, so I don't want you to get confused by my rhetoric. So yes, I lost one play. That was the KC. That was the Buffalo over, but I hit Cincinnati in the game. So picking the 4 winners I picked. And I told you last week that this was going to be the championship game, and that's exactly what it is. Anyway, so anything else, please ask. I think I'm kind of, I don't know where else to go. Russia, gold, women, poker, football. That's all I got. All I can say is buy more gold and silver. A, before the supplies run out, and B, before the prices run out and go up. Keep your eye on the euro, what it does, or the yen, the Japanese, or any of it. Keep your eye on it as far as what they do, because that's what we're going to do. I think there'll be a new euro issued before they go broke. The Swiss franc, the Japanese yen. They've come out with a new ruble already. That was a few months ago. So what tends to happen is they'll come out with a new dollar, and they'll say, well, let's blame Putin and the Russians for the inflation. We got to print more dollars. And they'll keep trying to sell you that inflation's price is increasing, which it's not. It's the effect of the value of the dollar dropping, but it is not prices increasing. So if prices drop, it's like Tesla. Nobody can afford them. He's lowering his price. Does that mean inflation's down because Tesla's lowering his price? No, because the businesses are trying to stay in business and people aren't able to afford the higher prices. So they lower their prices to try to get you into buying that. That's what they're doing. So when prices come down, it's because because their costs went up because of the inflation, and they can't sell the product. They can't pass the cost on to the consumer. So as I say, if they made avocados $10 because their cost went up, nobody's going to buy them. So they keep the price low, and it might hurt them because they're not making profit. But so if I go get my ribs, and he's now $40 a slab, he's going out of business because nobody's going to pay $40 a slab. So then he lowers his price to stay in business. So that's really when you see prices dropping, it's because they can't charge what they need to. So they lower their price because every business is about moving their inventory. Or if you're me, it's a service. I'm a service. I'm selling my wisdom so you can make money as a CPA or an attorney or a doctor does. So I'm in that field, not turning over inventory, but most of it, Oreo cookies or Pepsi, the only way they make money is they got to sell it. So if they market too high because their costs went up and nobody buys it, it just sits on the shelf. They can't move it. So they have to lower the price. That doesn't mean inflation went down. And that's what they're trying to sell you, is that inflation's down. Look, the month or year over year price has went down. That's got nothing to do with printing the money. That's for the survival of the company because they have to lower the price to sell their product. And then you'll see their earnings drop and you'll see the stocks drop. So that's what will eventually happen. So that's what inflation does, but it's not just it's printing money. Just stop printing money and you'll get rid of inflation. Well, it'll help you with inflation, but you can't keep printing money. And from what I understand, they're going to start printing a lot of money again, and they're going to lower the interest rates because they can't keep raising them. So I think they're going to hit 5, and then they're going to start going down because the effect of when the Fed raises interest rates, it takes 6 months to really see it. Well, they keep raising rates every month before they even see the effect that the interest rate hike had on them. Well, it's going to be huge because now it's going to start getting into everything. And I was at Toyota. The interest rate's 9% now for a car. Who the fuck's buying a car at 9%? So it's all deceit. They're all lying. You've got to be very careful. You've got to understand what inflation is, what they're doing. And it's all phony, and they're not including food and rent and energy in their inflation, in their inflation calculation. And we won't include the stuff that's gone up a lot. Okay, so is that a real number? So you just know the number that the government gives you is bullshit, as every other thing the government gives you is bullshit. It's sort of like the Chase catch yesterday. It was a catch. They call it not a catch. You're like, it's a catch. That's government at its finest. So keep that in mind. All right. Well, I think that's it. www.teaserking.com. I feel fine. I'm going to have some lunch, and I will be back tomorrow. Have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. You want to email me for anything. Happy to answer questions. Otherwise, that's about it. Have a great day. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Take care, everybody.